What is up? It's June 22nd. It's time for Ask DLF. It's Tuesday. Not Thursday, it's Tuesday. It's 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. That means it's time to get your questions answered, and it is time for us to roll our intro video. What is up? Welcome. I am pumped to be back here with you on Ask DLF. Tyler, are you pumped?
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll work on the enthusiasm a little bit, but we are here to answer your questions. We are rolling already. We got a bunch of you guys in here. This is literally the absolute best group of people in the chat that is in the history of YouTube, Tyler. I'm pretty sure in the history of YouTube, it's the best group of people in the chat room ever. What do you think?
I think so. We're literally simulcasting this everywhere.
That's right. Literally everywhere. We bump things up a little bit. And
I noticed.
Yeah, we're in 1080. We're not in 720 anymore. We've really kind of bumped things up, man. Yeah. So we are excited to take your questions. So what we are doing here, if this is your first time joining us, thank you for joining us. We are taking basically any and every question for as long as you guys have them. So we have been here for 2.5 hours. We've been here for 4 hours the last 2 weeks and didn't even get a chance to get through all the questions. So I've got things organized where we're going to try and get through them as best we can. If you see the little ticker down here, that is what we are using, that you can know how to get your questions in. So on the chat, make sure you use that, the live chat function right there. The best place is YouTube. You can use it anywhere. You can do Periscope. You can do it on Facebook. I think the best place to do it is actually on YouTube.
100%.
If you are on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribed. Just look down there real quick. Make sure it says subscribed. If it just says subscribe and is red, go ahead and click that button. It would be a huge help to us. It would show us that you love us, you care about us. And yeah, that's all I got. Tyler, anything else before we start jumping into some questions?
No.
Then let's do it. Ashley was here early and got a question in, so we got to get that. She says, pick 3 and 8 or AJ Brown.
What is this?
I'm assuming this is rookie pick 3 and rookie pick 8. Let's assume super flex because that's the only way it even kind of sort of makes sense.
Well, not really. I mean, if it's a super flex, give me pick 3 and 8. You're telling me I can have Fields or Lance and another player. I'll take that side over AJ Brown. I actually think it's more interesting if it's one QB, not less. If it's super flex, it's easy.
Very good. I think that is a good job of answering the question. I agree with you. I mean, I'm really high on AJ Brown, but yeah, super flex at 3 and 8 is really valuable too. Brian King also got in here before the buzzer and said, I've got a good team. Well, appreciate the flex here early, Brian. Should contend this year and probably will contend the next 2 to 3 years. I know I need to keep working on it, but when does it become too much? Can I overthink it?
I mean,
I think he's trying to talk himself out of like trading away his good players, maybe is what it sounds like to me. What do you think?
Don't trade away your good players, right? Like if you have a good team, don't overthink it, like roll it. But yeah, I don't know how to answer this. Like you can't ever work too hard on improving it, right? But like, I don't know. Just don't make bad trades. I don't really know how to answer this.
I think usually, like, can I overthink it? Yes, you can definitely overthink it. Like, and don't let yourself get like too caught up right here in the off season. We're like the end of June. July is going to like feel like a dead time. There's not going to feel like a ton of news. Like everybody goes on vacation at that time, the beat reporters, all that. And then things really get ramped up there last week of like last couple weeks of July. So yeah, don't get bored and like talk yourself into some trades that you wouldn't normally make. So yeah, Trogdor, the Burninator comes in and says, "What's up, guys? Looking forward to the show. We're glad you're here. What's up, AJ? He's excited. Colwyn, let's go.
You love to see it.
Huh?
You love to see it.
You'd love to see it. So I want to also mention that we are brought to you by Dynasty League Football. So make sure that you are signed up for a premium membership at dynastyleaguefootball.com. Go check it out. Like, it really is a way to distinguish yourself. And there are a lot of these answers that we're going to give you tonight. We constantly reference the tools that are available at dynastyleaguefootball.com. You'll see that as you pay attention and listen here tonight. We love the tools that are there. And seriously, like for $10 on a deposit to Monkey Knife Fight, you can get a year-long subscription. I mean, there's literally no downside. And then Monkey Knife Fight even matches the deposit so that you can use that as well. So it's a great thing. Go check it out. Go to dynastyleaguefootball.com. Check out subscription options and make sure you do that. Here's how we're going to work this tonight. We've got a few Twitter questions that have been stacking up for the last couple of weeks. We're going to try and get through those.
A few?
Yeah, we got a bunch.
A few is like the understatement of the century.
Yep.
So thank you, everyone who sent in questions. It's a lot more than a few.
Absolutely. I also want to just quickly, the intro video was provided by the best in the business at Aardvark TV. Make sure you're following him. He did a fantastic job. He's Feverish Finero. He's a great follow. Make sure you're following him. Then after we address a few of these questions out here on that came in through Twitter and other places, we're going to jump back into the comments. So if you're watching this and you have any questions for us, make sure you go ahead and get those in there while we're doing these. And as always, if you do have a super chat, we'll stop what we're doing and we will answer those. So Tyler's going to pay attention for those.
And jump the line.
When they come in, yeah, you jump the line and we will answer those. But we start with Eric John Flynn. At Eric John Flynn, he says, how much needs to be raised for Fantasy Cares for DLF Carp to chop off the hair? How many? How much?
There's no amount that's enough.
None?
No. If we're talking an amount that goes to me, maybe. But I'm not giving up my hair for any amount of money to charity. As much as I love charity, I like, not going to lie, My hair is a lot of what makes me happy on a day-to-day basis. I'm not giving up one of my only sources of happiness other than the show.
Tyler has read the story of Samson. He understands that's where his fantasy strength comes from.
I can't give up my hair.
Going to chop his hair off. Very good.
The amount of money it would take just to me to give up my hair is a lot more than you think.
Very good. Well, we appreciate the question here from Eric, and we're going to jump back in here from Reddit. We got some Reddit questions in here too. I'm pumped about that.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, first time Dynasty player. 12 team. This is a really good question. I want to start off with this one. 12 team PPR. How does draft strategy change from a seasonal league? So going from a redraft league to a Dynasty league. Is it better to draft rookies for immediate impact, future, or both? So just some tips for somebody just transitioning to a Dynasty league.
I mean, obviously, you look at more than 1 year at a time, right? I mean, in a redraft league, you just get to start over every single year. It doesn't really matter 1 year to the next. You just recycle your whole roster. So you're looking at, over a certain window of time. But immediate impact still matters. And yeah, I mean, really what matters is age is the difference. And in redraft, I don't care about age. It doesn't make a difference. But in Dynasty, you have this whole market value concept that doesn't exist in redraft. So, you want to hang on to people who are younger, so they have more insulated value than people who are older. Players that are older, they lose their value, performance or not. So that's the main difference. And then to answer his second question, better to draft rookies for immediate impact, future, or both. I mean, immediate impact gives you Dynasty value. So, you want to target rookies that are going to have immediate impact because they'll immediately raise their Dynasty value. But it's also okay to look at a little bit at the future. Like, as a good example, like I'm not expecting much out of Elijah Moore for fantasy in 2021. I don't think he's going to be usable for fantasy. That doesn't mean I don't want to draft him. If he flashes on the field, well on the field as a player, even if he's not usable for fantasy, that'll still increase his dynasty value. Dynasty managers are sharper than they used to be. It used to be if he didn't perform for fantasy, we don't care about him. Not so anymore. If he shows on the field, if he looks good, he'll raise in dynasty value toward the future. So just something to keep in mind. It's both when you're drafting rookies, immediate impact and future.
Absolutely love it. And look, you're not the only one here. So Lamont, this is Pod. He's with the Dynasty Vipers. So I know him. What's up, Pod? Cal, why is your hair always so clean? What are you using, dude? Look, I don't give away my secrets. Okay. I'm not going to do it.
I can tell you what I use.
Okay, go ahead.
Nothing. I've never put a single ounce of product in my hair in my life.
That's the key. We change our name to the Cool Hair Gang. Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll workshop that and see.
I'll consider it.
Blake says, "You guys rock. Go hard this session. No prisoners. Always. We never do.
Have I ever taken any prisoners?
Never do anything less.
Even one time."
Tanya, this is like the YouTube chat version of Kanye right here. Best Dynasty show on YouTube. We appreciate that.
Tony E. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just whatever. Couple of quick questions. We're gonna go through these. These are gonna be fun.
Quick ones.
Dynasty. Right. Curtis Samuel or Jalen Reagor?
Give me Curtis Samuel. Enough of Jalen Reagor. We don't want failure. We've had, the failure drinking game is in effect. If anyone wants to do this, count up the number of times I said failure. If you get it right somehow, if you could put that number in the chat, we'll give you some sort of prize or, whatever you want to do. But anyway, I don't want more failure from Jalen Reagor. So I'll take Curtis Samuel. He at least last year showed well on the field, and then he earned a contract. Now, look, I'm not very high on him, all things considered, but I don't want Jalen Reagor really. So give me Curtis Samuel.
Maddie is doing the drinking game. He's going to keep tabs, but obviously it's with Dr.
Please
Pepper.
Don't drink every time I say failure.
Yeah. Please don't do that.
It would kill you.
Just going back to this question real quick, and this is not a plug anybody's asked me to do here, but I will say I listened to Peter Howard. If you just subscribe to the Dynasty League Football podcast feed, the family of podcasts, there was one that Peter Howard did that I was listening to the other day where he was talking about what happens when in second-year players when they decrease in value in ADP. And how sticky that is it's like 94%. If their value decreases in ADP in their second year, they never go on to be anything we want in fantasy. It's really interesting that he broke down the data. Go listen to him. Peter Howard's very smarter than me.
That's what I like too, because I think the people know that I don't have any spreadsheets like Peter does. I don't have any of that. But, I think my instincts are pretty good. I think my strategy advice is generally pretty good. So I love it when, just what's coming out from me, from my personal experience, aligns with the numbers that Peter has. Doesn't always. But, when I always say I don't want failure, it's because of that reason. I'm aware of it, even if I don't tabulate it myself, that if you fail, your dynasty ADP generally stays down. It doesn't go back up. So that's why we don't want failure. You want something that's unknown, something that has a potential of success. Once there's failure, you'll have that segment of dynasty managers that'll never trust that player again. Carson Wentz, there's failure. There's been failure. So now, even if he bounces back in 2021, he'll never be the same player in turn. He's not going to be QB7 again. That's not going to happen. So, that's why, and I recorded a short video on YouTube, Twitter about this. Just the concept. It's not just a buzzword. It's not just, Tyler hates failure. No, there's a dynasty value reason for that. It's because of the market value of what failure does to a player and their trade value. And that's important when you're building a dynasty roster. It is Tony E. Okay. It is Tony E.
Sorry, Tony E. I still like Tanya. It just sounds good to
like
me.
Tanya.
But how about Damian Harris or Zach Moss?
Give me Damian Harris.
I guess it's one of those situations where it's like the ceiling is so much higher for Damian. Like you're definitely swinging for the fences, and both of them could be a swing and miss. But Harris, at least, like you're not going to have to contend with. I mean, assuming Cam doesn't get the start, but you're not going to have to contend with your quarterback being the goal line back.
It's not that. I just think Damian Harris is a better player than Zach Moss. I do. Damian Harris looked pretty good last year, right? I mean, my issue with Damian Harris was that they were going to be stuck with a whole other year of Cam Newton. But once they drafted Mac Jones and the possibility of Cam Newton not being the starter for the entire year became apparent, then I was suddenly more in on Damian Harris. Although drafting Ramondre Stevenson did not make me happy either. So I don't know. I'd take my chances with Damian Harris, but it's not like I'm like ecstatic about these two players.
Just a few more questions. We'll jump right back into our live chats and get to those. But this is an interesting one that came in from Fantasy Ray G, Dynasty, Cole Kmet, Tyler Higbee, Pat Freiermuth, or Gerald Everett.
Give me Cole Kmet. I don't really want. I mean, I don't want Higbee. I don't want Higbee. Higbee, unathletic. Okay. Unathletic. I don't want unathletic 5 years of failure. I don't want that. 5 games of success for 4.6 years of failure. I don't want any of that. So Higbee, no. Everett, I mean, 4 years of failure, despite all of his athleticism. You know, if he was really going to break out, why didn't he break out in 2019? He had every opportunity to do it. He didn't do it. 2020. We really think if Tyler Higbee was preventing you from breaking out, that should tell you something. Not that good. I don't want any Gerald Everett. Give me the possibility that Cole Kmet takes the year or two leap. Freiermuth would be my second choice.
Yeah, me too.
I saw enough from Kmet in terms of his snap share. He earned snap shares over 80% down the stretch. I'll take that positive indicator for a first-year rookie tight end over something I've seen absolutely nothing of. I like seeing a little bit of a positive indicator over nothing. So, and unfortunately, Pat Freiermuth is going to do nothing in year one. He's buried behind 3 wide receivers on an offense I think is going to become more run-heavy with Eric Ebron also on the team, who's not just going to completely go away. So, yeah, unfortunately, Freiermuth is kind of a more long-term play.
At Dustin H. Parker, you have to keep one. Michael P. Ryan, Ty Johnson, or Traquan Smith?
I'll keep P. Ryan, but he's losing that spot very fast. I still think there's a chance, however small, that he comes back out and is good in training camp. He has 4th-round draft capital. It's not nothing. So I think that there's an outside chance of that, but it's looking grim. But I don't want Ty Johnson. I mean, Ty Johnson, we have 2 years of nothing. Outside of a few games in 2020, 2 years of nothing. He had his chance on the Lions in 2019. He had his chance to take over the backfield. He completely blew that opportunity. I don't know if people remember. Traquan Smith is even worse. 3 years of failure. 3 years of failure. He was a 3rd-round pick. 3rd-round pick should get an opportunity. He had opportunity in his first 3 years. He did nothing with that opportunity. Nothing at all. Nothing. He never, what did he have? 50 targets? I don't want 50 targets. So, just because a bunch of targets are vacated, you want to talk about Peter Howard. That's his thing. Vacated targets don't exist. I don't want any Traquan Smith. That's a lot more failure. So give me P. Ryan of these. But again, these are not players I want.
Rashad Bateman or Elijah Moore?
Since they restructured Crowder and Moore's breakout seems delayed, give me Bateman.
Whew, I'll take Moore. I love what I'm hearing out of Elijah Moore. McLateral asked, have we missed the Elijah Moore buy window, or is there still time? I think with the Crowder.
This was before. He sent this in a long time ago. This was before they redid Crowder. Well, now is the buy window.
Right now, should you buy him?
Now is the buy window, because I think I reacted slightly in that I moved him down like 2 wide receiver spots and maybe like 4 overall spots, but people react more than that. So now I think he's a buy.
Last one, and then we go to the current comments. Should Kyler Murray be considered in the Patrick Mahomes tier of quarterback? So I think this is a reference to, like I had mentioned that, like there's like a top 3. There is a 1. There's an elite tier. Like the Hall of Fame has like a extra special place, or should. Pat Mahomes is that. But then there's 3 to me that you really want if you can in your super flex with Josh Allen and Kyler Murray. So I would put both those kind of up there in a very similar close tier. But no, you got Pat Mahomes alone by himself, right?
I do. And I don't consider Kyler Murray in that tier.
All right. Jumping back in now to our questions that we've been getting live. First, what are y'all doing with Tyler Johnson clogging up my roster right now? That's a tough decision.
Frustrating because it's a sleeper that I really liked. He flashed as a rookie, but they clearly don't like him. They re-signed Antonio Brown, put the franchise tag on Chris Godwin, and then drafted Jalen Darden in the 4th round. So you can cut him if you have to.
Yeah, I agree. I hate it because I really do like him. And there were even times at the end of the last season where Tom Brady looked like he was looking to him, even on 3rd down, and I really like that. But so Tony E or Tanya, can you give me your take on Kareem Hunt? What's his value in terms of picks? He's a free agent next year. Could he be a number 1 somewhere?
Isn't he signed through 2022? Pretty sure.
Let's see.
Sure, he signed through 2022 on that extension.
I think you're right. I don't think he's a free agent at the end of this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So
talk about Kareem Hunt. I mean, he's older than people think, I think.
No, I mean, he's how old do you think people think he is?
People think he's, like just got in the league the way he's being drafted.
Yeah, he is a free agent after 2022, but I mean, yes, but I don't think he's going to leave Cleveland, so he won't be the number 1. The Browns are talking about an extension with Nick Chubb, by the way.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I would say he's probably never going to be a number 1 again. Turns 26 this year in August.
But I don't think he has to be a number 1 anywhere, right? I mean, like, he's got a lot of value. He scored a lot of points last year.
Yeah. I'm just not that interested. Like, in a 1 QB, I'm not giving up a 1st for Hunt, and a 2nd's not enough to get him. So I'm probably just never going to get him. In a super flex, definitely not giving up a 1st. And a 2nd, still probably not enough to get him. And I probably wouldn't pay that much more. So I'm probably just not bothering with Kareem Hunt.
Kyle Trask value. Any?
Little to nothing. I don't do this. I'm just not interested. I wasn't interested in Trask before. I'm not interested in him now. I'm not interested in waiting. I mean, we see what happens to these day 2 quarterbacks at the first sign of trouble. They get replaced, if they even get an opportunity to play at all. So, he's whatever for me, but I wouldn't have used the 2nd round pick on him this year. So some sort of 3rd is his value in Superflex.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I just don't like the situation in Tampa. Like Tom Brady, I mean, knock on wood, he hasn't missed a lot of games, so he's not exactly somebody that, you think of that the backup is going to have a lot of value. And like he famously doesn't even let his backups get reps. So yeah, this is just not really a situation I'm excited about, even though like it looks like, oh, he could be the heir apparent to Tom Brady. I just don't think it's quite that easy.
When was the last time that actually happened?
Yeah.
When was the last time that a day 2 quarterback took over really as an heir apparent? Really? Yeah. Like, when was the last time that actually happened?
I can't even think of one. As if you limit it to day 2, I can't even think of one like.
Yeah, without an injury. When was the last time that really happened?
Yeah.
I mean, Drew Lock hit, but he wasn't really he wasn't sitting behind an established starter. So
did he hit?
No, I mean, he didn't hit, but he started.
Right.
Like, that's Jalen Hurts. Again, like, Jalen Hurts was drafted to be a backup. So, it's possible that Kyle Trask gets an opportunity, but I think that what's going on here is that he's insurance. He's insurance for the next couple of years. They're going to groom him as a backup, and then they're going to try to move from Brady to another veteran, as a lot of teams do nowadays. And I just don't think Kyle Trask is ever their intended starter. He might get a chance, though, if Brady gets hurt.
Especially with Bruce Arians there, it just doesn't seem like he's got a lot of patience to develop a quarterback.
No, he has no patience at all. We know he has no patience.
Dylan, really good question here. Is there a best order of positions to build a dynasty superflex team? For instance, get quarterback first, then go wide receiver, tight end, then running back. What's your favorite strategy here?
Definitely not any of this. I don't think about it this way. You want to take value. I definitely would never tell anyone to have an order of picking players. I mean, I could give a general idea, but no. Oftentimes I end up taking a quarterback in the first round because I have so many quarterbacks in the first round of my rankings. But after that, not really.
How about Skit here? Ask Clyde Edwards-Helaire. What's his value? What would you offer to go out and get him in a super flex 12-man?
I mean, I'd like to get him.
Me too.
First isn't going to be enough, right? Like 2022 first is not going to be enough.
No.
2 firsts is too much, though. So first and a second, I'd try. Probably not paying too much more than that in a super flex. I don't like to go buy running backs like this.
This hits on something else that I've been thinking about a lot lately in terms of trade strategy. Like, this really isn't how I think about it in terms of, and I know people are different, but I don't really think about it in terms of like, okay, here's this player, like, let me go out and make a trade for. I usually am looking at my roster, thinking about like what I need, what I have excess of, and then going out and trying to find a match that way, as opposed to it being player specific. But like, if I'm short on wide receivers, I'm going out and I'm looking for a team that's got a bunch of extra wide receivers. Or if I'm short on running backs, and maybe Skid is on his team, if he's short on running backs, I'm not necessarily thinking about one specific. Because what if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the only good running back on his team? You've only got one good running back on yours. You're not a great match unless one of you is willing to go into a rebuild, then and pile a bunch of picks on. But if he happens to have a bunch of running backs and you got a bunch of wide receivers and you're a good match, then great.
Yeah, I just not. Yeah, you go look and whatever. This is just not. I told you the offer. I mean, first and a second is what I would do.
Jordan Love season. Is it Jordan Love season?
I don't know, man. Like, Jordan Love.
Aaron Rodgers re-upped his golf membership. Don't forget.
I don't care about his silly golf membership. Come
on, it means he's going to stay. It means he's staying in Green Bay.
No, it doesn't mean that. There was some nonsense on Twitter about someone knowing a pilot that flew a plane with Gutenkoots and Murphy. And I'm like, really? This is news today? Talking about a plane flying to California with and we're judging the pilot's opinion of Gutenkoots' mood. That's news now. Okay, so enough of that. Oh man, I don't know. Jordan Love, I don't think he's very good.
Yeah,
I'm scared of Jordan Love. I don't want Jordan Love. So if he's the starter, go sell him. Go get rid of him. How about
Harrison Bryant? Do you have any thoughts on Harrison Bryant?
He's a nice sleeper. I would have liked him more if they had cut David Njoku, though.
Same. 100%. Who has the better season this year alone? So thinking about redraft value, Travis Etienne, Kareem Hunt, or Javonte Williams?
I'll take Etienne.
Yeah. I think I'd probably, out of this thinking about redraft, I'd probably have Hunt ranked higher. I guess I know more about what his role is. I'm more comfortable with that.
Upside's not there with Hunt. Unless, and even when Chubb got hurt, Hunt was disappointing in those games.
Let's see. TY. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. We need to discuss these Twitter rankings. Carp,
What?
Ruggs and Rager, Pittman spots destroyed my 2020 wide receiver picks.
Explain. You know what? Okay, let's talk about this for a second. If you think that, maybe we're getting to this point, but do you think that I move the Dynasty market value? I mean, really? Like, you think that because I said something that's going to change the value of players in your league? I mean, maybe. That would be great if that were really true. I don't think that, who cares, for your league, who cares what I say? What difference does it make? It's not going to change the value of anybody, at least not anytime soon. Did I really rank them that low? What did I do that was so bad? I don't think I ranked them that low. I'm higher on Pittman than consensus and Ruggs. Like significantly than ADP. Not Rager. No, Rager. I don't want failure. I don't want failure with another first round wide receiver coming in. I don't want that kind of failure. So enough of that. But who said Lamb over Jefferson?
So that's his, I guess, is a question. Do you have CeeDee Lamb over Jefferson? No. Tyler very famously has Jefferson where in your rankings?
Wide receiver one.
Wide receiver one.
It's true.
Bold.
Not that bold.
Over CeeDee Lamb. I guess obviously that was true last year. Gosh, I'd love to see a healthy Dak all year and see what they can do.
Wouldn't we all love to see that?
Gabe Davis, what's his value, especially considering Cole Beasley might retire.
Oh, yeah, not so fast. Gabe Davis retweeted all of Cole Beasley's posts. So we see where he stands. We see where Davis stands on this issue. That's where he stands. So not so fast. Not so fast on an increase in value for Davis. I don't know. Gabe Davis's value in what? Superflex, I'm probably not even paying a second for Davis.
Yeah, probably not. I wish they would have just trusted that they've got him and wouldn't have gone out. I know Emmanuel Sanders is not that big of a deal, but sometimes those veterans get in there and kind of mess things up a little bit. And Gabe Davis doesn't have that high end first, second round pick that kind of helps you feel comfortable about his value going forward.
No, he was a fourth rounder.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of scary.
What's up, Matt? And look, you're our favorite too, Matt. We really appreciate it. Stewie,
I feel like I've been very quiet today. I feel like nobody's really making me mad.
That's good. Which wide receivers are you most wanting to acquire? Do you have a most wanted list for wide receivers?
I mean, Jamar Chase, probably. T. Higgins too. Michael Gallup on the cheaper side. Darnell Mooney on the cheaper side. It's 4.
Love it. AJ says to be you. And chat, we want you to be you. So if you are here, we are just over the 30-minute mark. We're just getting started. We got a lot of questions to answer. You guys keep those questions coming in. Make sure that you are also just supporting us as best you can. We're working hard for you. We just really appreciate the support. Subscribe to the channel down below. Hit the like button, the little thumbs up, as our little scroll here says. Hit the thumbs up button. Comment, give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think we can do better. We certainly always appreciate that from you because after all, we're here for you. We want to answer those questions. We're just a bunch of people in the middle of June, late June that love talking about football. Glad that you come here to do it with us. And so many times it's cool seeing the chat room, even answering a bunch of the questions themselves. So feel free to do that. You see that, interact. It's really great. We hate Rob. Why do we hate Rob? Who has a better career arc, Antonio Gibson or DeAndre Swift?
Man, better career arc, DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift, it might depend on how long this Detroit group stays together.
Situations change very fast.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing how that goes for sure. But that's not to take away from Antonio Gibson. But DeAndre Swift is I definitely had him ranked higher going into last year and He's so good, man. He's so good.
It's not like Antonio Gibson has a locked-in franchise quarterback.
Yeah, no.
So just keep that in mind.
Mark Carr, the other Carr brother, says, Superflex, I have Lamar, Matt Ryan, Tyrod, and Trevor Lawrence. Should I look to trade Matt Ryan? And what's a good asking price as far as future picks? What can you get for Matt Ryan right now? I don't know.
I think that ship sailed. I think the idea of trading Matt Ryan is kind of a thing of the past. I think most people have come around to my view, which is that Matt Ryan has little to no actual dynasty like value. He's not going to have resale value. He's not going to have trade value. I mean, he's worked his way into that group of old quarterbacks, old, little to no value, just kind of there that you can ride. I don't even think you can get a first for Matt Ryan anymore. I certainly wouldn't pay one.
If you can get somebody to give you a first, then bravo.
I'd just take it.
But honestly, he probably has more value on your roster than he does on the trade block right now.
I agree.
You just got to ride out the rest of his career. I think that's just where we are with him.
I totally agree. I think that's what you have to do.
Addison, let's go, fellas. 4 more hours. Hey, if you're not watching Addison's videos here on the YouTube channel, that's one of the reasons why you got to watch it. He goes solo every day. He's dropping a brand new video.
I don't know how he does that.
I don't know how he does it either, but he kills it. Really appreciate all the work that he's doing. And he just he upgraded his mic. He's awesome. Tone E. Maddie's doing the drinking game. Yeah, Akers or Swift. How about that?
Akers. Give me Akers.
Akers for me too.
I mean, who do we want? The Rams offense or the Lions offense? We don't want the Lions offense. We don't want that. So give me Akers.
Hey, speaking of the Rams offense, did you see those quotes from Sean McVay about how great Matt Stafford is?
Well, he just hates Jared Goff. That's really what it is. He hates Jared Goff. McVay has like this. Now he has this hatred for Goff. So weird.
I just love like all the pettiness. Like I feel like there's a lot of pettiness going on there, like back and forth, and I'm here for it. Like all the stories. I'll read tag me in a story about the pettiness between Sean McVay and Jared Goff, and I will read every single one of them. Do that. Okay, yeah. Maddie's keeping up. Best drinking game. Matt wants to play chess with you. Are you a chess player?
I mean, he could play against me, but he'll lose.
Are you like really? That's one of the things you do. You like to play chess?
Oh yeah, I used to be a national champion.
What?
Didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Now you do.
Did everybody else know that? Is that public knowledge?
Somewhat. I don't talk about it that often.
Okay.
Makes me look like a nerd.
I mean, it's fantasy football. We already look pretty nerdy. So
I know. So I don't need to look more nerdy.
Tommy Gunn, grade the trade, 14 team, Superflex Dynasty. I traded away James Robinson for Diami Brown, Javian Hawkins, and a 2022 third. Tommy, what do we think?
Meh.
I don't like it.
I'll just hang on to Robinson. That's a lot of maybe. A lot of whatever. That other side's not enough.
The other side has shown really nothing. That 2022 third. I mean, we got an undrafted running back. I mean, Diami Brown's got
it's not even that. It's not even that. It's a 2022 third in a 14-team league. So you're not looking at picks 25 to 36. You're looking at picks 29 to 42. That 2022 third is not worth anything. No. So, yeah, this is not enough. Whatever, just take James Robinson's career. I don't want this other side. Not enough for me.
And James Robinson's already shown it. So, maybe it doesn't work out where he stays there with the Jaguars, but maybe there's another opportunity for him somewhere. I'm just not willing to give up his dynasty value for someone who's already been as successful as he's been. Right?
Yeah. We just had a massive spike in viewers, by the way.
Yeah, everybody who's here. Let me get the other banner going here. we are taking questions. So if you've got any questions that you want us to answer, we're doing that live. Make sure to go ahead and get those in as we continue. This chat room is amazing. Wessel wants credit for the failure drinking game. I do remember he was the one that brought it up. He or she, I'm not sure. Sorry, E. Wessel. Credit for the failure drinking game. Don't really do this, though.
Yeah, please don't. You'll be dead.
Yeah, please don't do that.
You'd literally be dead. If you drank every time I said failure, you would not live through this 4-hour show. You'd be dead.
Ed says, I still think Zach Moss is going to surprise a lot of people.
All right, let's talk about this because we had a question. We had actually multiple questions about the Buffalo backfield. So I think we just get them out of the way at the moment. So essentially for me, there's two outcomes on the Buffalo backfield. Either Zach Moss is the guy or we don't want anyone. Those are the two outcomes. I think it's we don't want anyone. But if it's someone, it's going to be Moss. That's kind of my take on the Buffalo backfield.
100%. A lot of reports out of camp, that with Buffalo being really disappointed in the way that Devin Singletary played down the stretch when Zach Moss was hurt. And, the more I read into that, I think Moss is going to get the opportunity to be special there. It's just a matter of can he capitalize and can Josh Allen not vulture away too many touchdowns from him? That's going to be the key. Slick 50 says trade Kyle Pitts for TJ Hawkinson plus. What do you think?
What's the plus? Generally, no, but what's the plus?
Yeah. Well, what would it have to be? I guess it's so hard to trade Pitts right now because I just don't his value is so high. I just don't know that I don't know that I'm trading him, and there's almost no way his value goes down the next year.
The plus would have to be a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'd take Hawkinson in a first, but you think you're getting that?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not, right?
Matt has been keeping up, so this is as of 30 minutes ago.
What is he doing? One drink per failure or one drink for every 5 failures? That was my suggestion. One drink for every 5 failures. Because that was 4 right there.
Can Josh Palmer be a wide receiver 2 for the Chargers as soon as not this year, but next year, 2022? Do you like his dynasty future?
Yes. I mean, because he has the opportunity. But no, in that I think that they could just bring in someone else to replace Mike Williams. I don't think that he's going to be their second weapon ever. Right now, they have Jared Cook at tight end, which is not great. Mm-hmm. But I think if they lose Mike Williams, they're going to bring in someone else to be that 2. And Palmer's never going to be more than their 3. Now, for Justin Herbert, we might want their 3. But I don't think he's going to be their second weapon. They're either going to bring in a real Hunter Henry replacement, not wash Jared Cook, or a real wide receiver 2. So I like Palmer as a late flyer, but that's what he is. So no is my answer to this question.
It really just depends on how much you believe in his talent. Jalen Guyton, when he was the guy there, I guess after Mike Williams went down, he saw the field a lot. It just didn't get a ton of opportunities. A lot of go routes, a lot of high. If they hit, they could be high value targets, but just not. As long as Keenan Allen there, and like you said, like a real tight end and Austin Eckler, you're not going to get a ton of targets out of that wide receiver.
Yeah, Eckler being there too as well. But they haven't really spent big in free agency or in the draft on a receiver in a long time.
Right.
I mean, Mike Williams was the last one they brought in. That was 2017.
That's right.
They haven't spent it on anyone, really.
Troy King in the house. What's up, Troy? Appreciate you stopping by. Make sure you guys are following him. We're only a couple days away from Thursday. Hey, guys, wanted to ask if you think Justin Fields changes the entire complexion of the Bears' offense. Allen Robinson and David Montgomery now have top 10 finishes at their respective positions? ?
Yes. Justin Fields would change the entire complexion of the Bears' offense because Andy Dalton sucks. Dalton sucks. So
Trubisky. So yes, of
course. I mean, Allen Robinson, yeah, he would be top 10. And David Montgomery, no, not for me. Top 10 is hard. There's other good running backs, and not for me. His talent is going to prevent him from getting there. He did it in 6 games. We had a year and a half of failure. There was a year and a half of failure before 6 games of success. So I haven't forgotten about that year and a half of failure. So I don't think so. Yeah. Not top 10 for Montgomery.
I think you'll see, as you do with most of the time when you have a running quarterback, you'll see his yards per carry go up a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see if he can take advantage of that. But what you're not going to see is as many catches as I think we hoped, because that's typically
Tariq Cohen is coming back too. They extended him on a contract. I just don't think that you're going to see. I think it's going to be the receiving work that goes away. The rushing volume will still be there, but I think he's going to be, a little bit like what Josh Jacobs kind of is going to give you. Except I think Montgomery's a little bit of a better offense, so I'd rather have him. And Cohen's not as threatening as Drake, but I don't think it's that much better.
Eagle Dan, what up, guys? What's up, Eagle Dan? He was on Front Yard Fantasy today, and looks like he's a part of that from now on. I love that group.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
True North Nate, what's up, Nate? He's another part of DLF. Appreciate his work.
A very supportive person.
Absolutely.
I love you, Nate.
Tommy Gunn, who has more Dynasty upside. Your favorite.
Okay.
Or Elijah Moore.
Let's talk about it. We have a lot of failure with Juju.
Great
2
question.
years of failure. 2 years of more. I don't want any more failure. Drake article coming soon to DLF. That the one I wrote? I hope that's the one I wrote.
He's got one too.
I wrote one. I assume that's the one I wrote. But anyway, Juju has little to no upside anymore. I'm tired of Juju. So I guess if the question's upside, it's Elijah Moore. But in terms of Dynasty, I still have Juju ranked higher just because Elijah Moore, 2nd round pick, is not guaranteed. Never done anything on the field. We don't know. Wouldn't take much for me to change my mind, though.
LaMichael P. Ryan is the definition of failure. Matt says we're up to 5 drinks. How about Eagle Dan says Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp? Dynasty value, who you got?
Cooper Kupp. But they're very close.
Kupp's just recently had a birthday. Do you know when it was?
We did this last week, June 15th, 1993. Come on. You think how old do you think I am? Think my short-term memory is that bad?
Very good. He's now only technically 1 year younger than Robert Woods.
1 year is enough, though, because we really don't know who Matthew Stafford is going to prefer, right? We really don't know. Last year, the touchdowns went to Woods, but every other year they went to Kupp. So we don't really know. So in Dynasty, I'm going to lean toward the guy that's a year younger.
Absolutely. We're apparently flying by all this. And Dingus, this is Matt Donnelly.
Well, we can't go for 5 hours.
Co-host there with Dynasty Vipers. Yeah. Stay hydrated.
And PJ says take whoever's cheaper, I think, between Kupp and Woods. And Kupp is cheaper and younger. So I'll take Kupp.
Matty Daddy, what's up, my man? I love this guy. Are we expecting a big year from Michael Pittman?
Well, the problem is Carson failure. We don't want failure. I mean, Carson Wentz was so bad in 2020 that he could prevent Michael Pittman's breakout. But with that said, I do think that Pittman is the one there. Clearly, I don't want any more T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton's time as a fantasy asset is over. Mm-hmm. Paris Campbell has not managed to make his way onto the field 2 years. I'm tired of waiting. Too many injuries. I don't like injuries. So, I mean, sure, but I'm not that in on Pittman.
FF Kobe, how are we feeling about going wide receiver, 10-team PPR?
I don't know. Sure. 10 and 11 as in the first 2 picks. Well, what would even be there, right? I mean, what would be there in a 1 QB? I mean,
Jefferson's maybe there.
Maybe. I mean, if Jefferson's there, I'd do it. AJ Brown.
You going Jefferson, AJ Brown there?
But generally, I don't like the value in that range. So I'm usually looking to trade down.
Very good. Yeah, 2-year deal. That was going back to Hunt. Travis Etienne and Brandon Ayuk, or Terry McLaurin and Miles Sanders.
Tough, actually.
I like this Amazing Frog 1, 2, 3, 4 little
This
B.
is dead. This is dead even.
Great
because
name.
I have Brandon Ayuk and Miles Sanders almost exactly equal, and Travis Etienne and Terry McLaurin almost exactly equal. So it's dead even. So I'm gonna tie break it by going to the younger players on the left, Etienne and Ayuk.
I'm 100% with you there. I love Terry McLaurin.
So do I.
But yeah, Etienne and Ayuk.
That's the cause of the hesitation.
Yep. Drop the mic. What's up, Cal? What's up? Drop the mic. Kyle Trash is buns. I never heard that.
We have no idea, but I just think that the odds are that Kyle Trask never gets an opportunity to be the starter. He was drafted to be a backup. Just keep that in mind.
Nate asked, just watch the CBS Fantasy Scott Fishbowl mock draft.
What tight ends do I like for Scott Fishbowl? Travis Kelce.
The good ones.
I want Travis Kelce. I like Travis Kelce.
You know who I love? I love Noah Fant. I'm really slowly becoming a really big Noah Fant fan.
Why?
Just go pull up his player profiler page. Like, look, you might have to make sure that like you're, like you can get excited looking at his player profiler page. He's an incredible athlete. He's got all the talent in the world. It's second year in the system. I just think he is, with Pat Shurmur, he likes to feature the tight ends. I think there's a chance he is first or second in targets in this team, depending on who stays healthy.
Not according to what the Broncos' own reporter said. That's not what they said. They said that Sutton would lead the team in targets, followed by Judy, with Fant miles behind. So unless Sutton gets hurt again, I'm completely out.
Marquez Callaway, thoughts?
I love him as a sleeper. We know what I think of Tre'Quan Smith. We have years of failure. I don't want any more failure. So Callaway, I love him as a dynasty sleeper. Someone else has to step up there outside of Thomas and Kamara. And, Thomas got hurt all of last year, so there could be extra opportunity, especially if Jameis Winston is the quarterback.
I think he flashed last year.
He did. And we don't know anything about Adam Troutman. He could be good. He could not be good. We don't have any idea. So I love Marquez Callaway in deeper leagues as a flyer. Don't go pay anything for him. But, if you could pick him up off of waivers, I love that move. Put him on the end of your bench. And if he flashes and you can sell for a 3rd-round pick, just do that. And, you got something out of nothing.
What's the best strategy for the 3rd-round reversal in the Scott Fish Bowl? What's the best draft spot? It's 11. I'm in the I'm in 11. It's the best. It's the best group chat. It's the best draft spot. That's where you want to go, Major.
Yeah, it's 11 or 12.
I love Major, by the way. He's honest with the Dynasty Vipers as well. Major's a great dude. Make sure you're following him. Nate Dennis, what's the value of Mond? And do the Vikings move on from Cousins next year? I say no.
Well, how are they going to do that?
No
his entire 2022 contract is guaranteed.
Yep.
What is he at? $45 million owed. So how are they going to move on from Cousins next year?
No way. I don't think Mond has much value. I think it does tell you that the Vikings are starting to think about the future, but I don't think he has much value.
No, I think Mond is actually worse than Trask. Like, Mond was definitely taken to be a backup forever. And there's no way that I think he's going to get any chance at the starting job at all. He's a backup. So you need, believe me, when Cousins' contract is over, they're either going to re-sign him, because Cousins is not Brady. Cousins could have 5 years left. So they could re-sign Cousins. They're either going to re-sign him or get another veteran. They're not going to go to Mond as the starter. That's not going to happen. So it's only if Cousins gets hurt.
Cousins is due like $45 million.
Yeah, that's guaranteed, by the way.
Yeah. Adam, the homies. What's up, Adam? Blake McDonald, what would you pay for T. Higgins in a 1 QB 14-team PPR league? Would you give up 2 first? Blake says he wants.
I mean, a 14-team, the firsts have a lower range of outcomes, but the top end range is still there. Probably not giving up 2 firsts. for T. Higgins, even in a 1 QB. I think that's just too much, even in a 14-teamer.
I think it's too much.
Too much. Also, in a 14-teamer, you're going to prefer the package side over the one side more because depth is more important. It's harder to find. So that kind of cancels out the fact that the firsts are worth a little bit less. So this is just not the kind of thing I'm willing to do. Too risky.
Ed paid a 1 and a 2 for T. Higgins and a 1 QB 12-teamer.
That's about right.
I think that's right.
I would do it, actually. In a 1 QB 12-teamer. In Superflex, I hold on to my firsts like in a vice grip. But in a 1 QB, when I know there's no quarterback that I could be getting, I'm far more likely to just let him go. So I might do this trade. So it's about right. He's not worth 2 firsts. But a 1 and a 2 is about right.
Mark Carr jumps back in. Any idea what the next 2 years of rookies look like? QB heavy, running back heavy?
Anyone who tells you they know the answer to this is lying.
Yeah.
I mean, people didn't really think that this year was like the heaviest quarterback class ever because they didn't know about Zach Wilson. They didn't know about Mac Jones. Those two literally were irrelevant, completely irrelevant before this year. Irrelevant. 2020, Joe Burrow. Irrelevant before the final season. So anyone who tells you they know is not being completely honest with you. To give you some idea, the 2023 running back class looks strong, and the 2022 running back class looks very weak. That could change. But remember that we saw the 2020 strong running back class coming from a mile away. 2023 is a repeat of that. But again, I'm not a Devy analyst. That's just my best opinion.
Yeah.
Like I said, nobody really knows the answer. It's all guesswork.
Where do you rank, or who do you rank the highest among these? DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, or T. Higgins?
Okay. I mean, I literally just published a wide receiver rankings thread recently. Terry McLaurin came in at wide receiver 11. DJ Moore, wide receiver 13. And T. Higgins, wide receiver 17. So it's Terry McLaurin.
Good question from Trogdor, the Burninator. Welcome back. Appreciate that. You don't forget a name like that. Hitting rounds 20 plus in a super flex startup. Got a lot of good value at rookie, but need some guys that can start in a pinch at third flex. Any veteranish players to target here? So 20 plus rounds.
Deep?
Huh?
That deep? Man.
It's probably going to be a wide receiver. I mean, when you're that deep, you're probably looking at. I'm looking here. Gosh, you're looking at
Jacoby Myers, maybe. Running back, maybe Ty Johnson.
Yep.
John Brown, maybe.
Yeah, Scotty Miller. I mean, that's what.
No. Not after the Darden pick, re-signing Brown. No, not Scotty Miller.
They could certainly deal with injuries like they did last year. I mean, you're in
That's
some
too many injuries. Road. Too many injuries required. Not him. Wayne Gallman, maybe. I mean, he was usable last year. If you think that Aaron Rodgers is coming back. Either Alan Lazard or Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Giovanni Bernard, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah. You know what? Thinking in that realm, like somebody like a Malcolm Brown who might get a lot of goal line work and could
not
end
Malcolm
up in
Brown
a spot.
for me. Not Malcolm Brown for me.
It's not saying like, hey, here's a guy that's like super talented, but like he is somebody that somehow does end up earning the trust of his offensive coordinators more than you expect. So is there an idea that, at some point he ends up?
No, because you'll never be able to predict it. It's not like Giovanni Bernard could become the regular PPR back for the Bucs. Problem with Malcolm Brown is he's going to be the goal line back from time to time, but you're never going to be able to predict when those touchdowns are coming. It's going to be touchdown or like 0. So that's going to be very difficult to use. Giovanni Bernard would be my target in that range if I'm really looking for a desperate veteran ad. If I had any confidence in Tevin Coleman, he would be another one.
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe Emmanuel Sanders.
Tyrell Williams. If CEH went down, Tyrell Williams would be something. It'd be something relevant.
Apparently, there are people that knew this about you, that you are a national chess champ.
Oh, no, I don't think that's him knowing. I think that's... from my conversations with AJ, I've never told him that.
Well, Ed says he knew it.
Ed's known me a lot longer. So I think that he would definitely know that. Is
there a story behind this? Like, how did you tell me about it? I want to hear about your chess days.
Oh, well, the people don't want to hear about that.
I kind of want to hear about it. All right, maybe another time. Let us know in the comments if you want to hear about Tyler's life as a chess champion. Is it anything like the Queen's Gambit? Is it anything like the show?
The Queen's Gambit is not realistic.
Oh, don't ruin it.
Because she started way too old. Chess prodigies start at like 3. Not 8.
Come on, I've seen the
other than that and all the drugs, the Queen's Gambit's relatively realistic about the learning process of chess. But the big thing is she started way too old. Chess prodigies start at like 3 or 4, almost always.
If you are a national, or if you're somebody who wants to challenge Tyler in a game of chess, like, let us know. Make sure you put it in the comments. Nate's here for this. And Ryan, what's up, Ryan? How are you?
Yes, I figured out why we had a spike in viewers.
Yeah, me too. So this is a really good point. We're over an hour now. So we are brought to you by dynastyleaguefootball.com, which you probably know Ryan from. And it's a great opportunity to get in. Like, we've got a really good deal with Monkey Knife Fight right now where you can get in, and for $10 deposit, you can get a 1-year annual subscription to DLF. So make sure that you take advantage of that. What are some of your favorite things about DLF, Tyler?
Oh, all the tools, the ADP, mostly the tools, honestly, because that's what I use in my articles. I use a bunch of them today. I just wrapped up that article about Kenyon Drake, and apparently from the comments, yes, it was my article that was being talked about.
Okay.
But yeah, I use the scoring history app. I use that a lot. The ADP over time app to create a graph. Those are some of the ones I use. The snap counts app. Apparently, we're like the only one that's really like that. Or at least so it was said on Twitter. Don't go at me on that. I don't. I figured out how to use this app, let alone other apps. But yeah. The apps, ADP, mostly.
Addison is behind a lot of those. Adam Hayes on Twitter. He is really talented. Make sure you're following him.
Don't forget the underscore.
Yeah, that's right. He does all daily videos here on YouTube, so make sure you're checking those out as well. Ed says Zach Moss is a better blocker by far, better goal line back, and a better receiver.
Well, he's better at everything than Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary, with last year, a lot of failure. When Zach Moss was injured, he had every opportunity. Singletary had every opportunity to create fantasy value. And did he do anything with that opportunity? Anything at all? Did he do anything in 2020 at all to suggest that he's going to be good going forward? Even one thing? I don't remember any of that. I don't remember him doing anything. So, no Singletary.
Kyle Pitts for Dallas Goedert and Deontay Johnson.
Tight end premium, I'll do it. In a non-premium, I'll pass.
Not saying I decided Moss starts. Bob Gilchrist is maybe the biggest Kyle Pitts fan in the history of the world. You can't trade Kyle Pitts for anything less than a top 5 QB. Bob Gilchrist at one point tried to trade Christian McCaffrey for Kyle Pitts and was rejected.
That's a choice that he made. I disagree.
Bob also, while I got him up here, he made my background here, and this that you see up here, this has DLF, this background that we're using here on the StreamYard and on YouTube. Before you click on the thing that brings you to the video, that's what he made there as well. So Bob's really talented. Make sure you're following him. Doing a lot of work with the Abby makers for Scott Fishbowl. Bob is awesome. Corey never hurts to try. Hawk and a first sounds great. Grant G, how many firsts are too many? Did a startup where I got great value for future firsts and let people move up. Ended up with 4 firsts in 2022 and 4 firsts in 2023. and still got a team with very little failure.
Oh, not a lot of failure. I like that. Not a lot of failure is very good. There's no such thing as too many firsts. They never decrease in value, so there's no such thing as too many firsts.
Here's my question about this league. Did we already collect for next year and the year after? Because
dangerous.
If not, there's a really good chance that these guys are going to bail. All right. So just have people ready to come take over these teams if you need to. But I've had that where I was like so excited that I was trading back and I was picking up all these first, and then everybody just bailed. The league lasted 1 year.
All right. Look, here's a way to solve that. None of these people are sponsors, but find a reputable commissioner or something, or use a commissioner service like Safe Leagues. Then you won't have that problem.
I'm not sure what this is. It just says McKitty. I don't know. Maybe it's in reference to last week when we were talking about the funniest names for NFL players. Trey McKitty is a pretty good one.
There's our first. We finally had a super chat.
All right, pull it up.
Where are all the super chats? No one wants to jump the line today.
Pull it up.
First one. $2. I don't even know what that is. Dynasty Superflex 102 pick. Who you got? Mahomes.
$2 Russian dollars?
Rubles?
2 rubles? Okay.
I've been to Russia. 2 rubles is like nothing.
I've not even thought of the word rubles. Bravo.
Well, I've been there.
Dynasty Superflex 102 pick. Who you got? Mahomes was the first.
Kyler's my 2.
Kyler's your 2. But how close would Josh Allen be? Is he your 3?
He's my 3.
Yeah.
I would probably not be making this pick, though. I'd probably trade down.
Yeah, because... Okay, so how close would the next one be after Kyler and Josh Allen then? You have Dak?
Close. Dak, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty close.
All right. Pretty close. Thank you for the rubles.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. Hey, Ryan. It's really nice of Ryan to stop by. I really appreciate that. Well, David Montgomery being RB1 again. We talked a little bit about him earlier. Anything else you want to say on him?
No, I said no. I have him ranked for this year as RB19. So I'm saying no.
Drake article coming soon. Yeah, that's yours. Yeah. P2 Thar, welcome in. Better late than never. Elijah Moore way over Juju, and it's not close. Agreeing with you. Would you trade away Brandon Ayuk and Deontay Johnson in order to obtain Justin Jefferson?
Without a second thought, yes.
Oof. Oh, I don't think I could do it. I love Jefferson, but Ayuk and Deontay are both 2 of my favorites. Deontay is still only 24 years old.
Easy, yes.
Take whoever's cheaper. PJ. Come on, PJ. No,
I don't think so. No. I think he's gonna have a bounce back year to his next career.
Yeah, TY is dust. He loves big wide receivers. I guess we all do.
Alshon. I mean, he didn't really get along with Alshon Jeffrey.
Superflex League, pick 102, CMC or Josh Allen. Just talked about that.
Kyler Murray, not CMC.
Not CMC. Yeah, we're not going CMC until when in Superflex.
108.
Yeah, I just don't think even in that position. I'd rather trade back. I feel like I have to get a quarterback in the first round, most anywhere.
Yeah, it would be difficult for me to actually make that pick. I'd try to trade down also.
We don't want any more failures.
We've had some discussion about this actually. Into actually making this into a t-shirt.
We have. And we've got some cool things. I can't even tell you about all of them, but we do have some cool things coming up. You guys are going to be so excited about. Hopefully next week I can announce it, but if not, the week after. Addison's helping work on a few really cool things for us. E. Wessel, not sure if I missed it, but what's Noah Gray's dynasty value, and how do we get Yahoo to change Jacob Harris to tight end eligible?
Noah Gray doesn't have any dynasty value. I mean, he's a flyer at best. He didn't have dynasty value.
Well, there were some comments about that Travis Kelce. I think why he got a little bit of traction is Kelce was like really impressed by him. So I don't know. Like, how much do we look at players and these comments that we get in the media and
Not much.
yeah.
He doesn't have any dynasty value. I'm not giving up any pick for him. If you can add him off waivers, fine.
I don't have any more Yahoo leagues, but I am shocked that Yahoo does not already have Jacob Harris as a tight end.
What do they have him as? Receiver?
Must have him as a receiver. They're usually the first ones to jump on board something like that.
That's odd. They should fix that. They will.
Let's see.
Keep in mind also that like ESPN and Yahoo are redraft platforms. So they're not really there right now.
All right, more of these, and then we are going to jump over into some more Twitter questions for a little bit. So Sanger Silva says, JT or Saquon?
Give me JT.
Yeah, I agree with that. But are you worried he might not catch enough passes?
No.
Okay. Simple. I like it. Man, a few words today. If you're
not a little bit today, a little bit.
If you're watching this and you'd like to support us, we're out here working hard. Tyler's working hard. Make sure you're subscribed. Look down below.
That really helps. Yeah.
Make sure it hits the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up. Leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you think. And I have a question for you, Tyler, that comes in from Coach Bruce 122. What's your favorite part about being an analyst? And what's the toughest part?
Well, okay, I'll answer the toughest part first. The toughest part is all the mean people. That's the toughest part. Is all the mean people. Like, there are people who say things about me that are not nice, usually concerning my face or my voice. I don't really like that. That's things that people say. It's very frequent, actually. It's obnoxious, and it just is what it is. Like, when you have the kind of following that I do, I guess that's just part of the territory. I don't like it, but whatever. That's 100% the toughest part. My favorite part,
that sucks. And sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but that sucks. I hate that. And look, if just people need to be better. Like, that just is not something we need to, like, Tyler's working hard. He's doing everything he can to provide great fantasy content. Like, if you disagree with the take, but like, don't be an idiot, be a good human. Like, don't be a troll. Don't be somebody that sends rude DMs, stuff like that. Like, that's
like, if you think I'm a bad analyst, that's your opinion. I mean, you can say that. I might mute you, I might block you, but okay, like, fine, that's your opinion. Don't tell me that my face is ugly. Don't tell me that, like, my voice, makes you want to kill yourself. These are actual DMs that I've received, by the way.
Stupid.
Don't tell me that I belong in a grave. These are DMs that I've received. So don't do any of that. If you don't want to follow me, don't follow me. If you don't like my analysis, just turn off this show or go find another show. Like, believe me, there are plenty of them, including from our own channel. But yeah, just, whatever. Just don't say anything like that. And for me, doesn't really hurt my feelings that much. I'm pretty confident in my face and my voice and all that. But like, let's say that it were someone else, someone who didn't feel that way. Someone who, had a lot of anxiety about those things, and you were saying that to them, that could be, really harmful to their mental health. So just remember that you have no idea what the person on the other end of such a comment, how they feel. You have no clue. So just careful with the personal stuff. That's all I would say.
What's your favorite part?
Oh, I mean, it's the same thing in reverse. It's the positive feedback, the positive interactions, the people who support me. My favorite thing is the people who tell me at the end of a season, well, you helped me win a fantasy title, or you made the fantasy season more enjoyable, even if I didn't help them win anything. Just something like that. Something where, like, I actually received a lot of those DMs because I posted about this negativity recently. A lot of the DMs be like, continue what you're doing. You're very supportive of the fantasy industry, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's that kind of stuff, is the support and the people who feel like I'm making a positive difference in their lives. That's the best stuff, I guess.
Do you have a favorite craft beer style from
I don't really
same
drink beer.
generic user on Reddit?
I don't really drink beer. So you got a better answer than that? Because I don't really drink beer. I never really have.
There's a local brewery here, Abita beer, which I like, but I don't have like a favorite style. Like the one, like if I'm gonna drink one, like I don't really care that much. It's I don't know. Not a great question for us. Sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately. Here,
Trowbridge would be great. Oh, there we go. AJ McMahon.
I love
Let's
it.
drop the hate. Love and fun. Let's go.
I love it.
Thank you, AJ.
That's really sweet.
Appreciate you saying that. Yeah. The favorite craft beer style, hit up at Jake Trowbridge on his drinking and fantasy.
100%.
Yeah, that's who you want to ask.
Or honestly, almost any analyst other than us. Beer is pretty popular in the fantasy football community, actually. It's just not really for either of us, apparently.
Unengaged donors. This is a really good question. At Doomzone.
I love this question. Yeah. I love. Can we
kick them out, or prefer to they be hauled away, kicking and screaming?
Oh man!
What do you do if somebody's not engaged?
The worst thing is someone who does the minimum.
Yeah.
They set their lineup every week. They respond to the trade offer, usually by rejecting it.
And then offer nothing.
Their draft pick on time. And they don't do anything else. Those are the worst. But you can't really kick them out. I'd say the best you can really do, you can't really kick them out, unfortunately. The best you can do is talk to them and be like, do you really want to be in this league? Or are you just kind of going through the motions? A lot of the time, they'll say, I'm just going through the motions and like, I'll bounce. Sometimes, though, they say, hey, this is just how I like to play. And in that case, there's nothing you can really do.
The truth is,
kick them out.
You're gonna have people like this in every dynasty league. I mean, it just you're not going to have a dynasty league with 12 like super active, like always in the chat, like always, making trades. Like it's just, I don't know. I've never been in a league where all 12 are like that. You always are gonna have like 2 or 3 or 4 that are like you said, they're kind of doing the minimum. Maybe they're in a lot of leagues. Maybe it's not the one that they care the most about. But if it's a home league and you've got like 10 people who are like engaged and you got 2 people who are like kind of a part of the group, but not really a part of the group, and they're not really engaged, like I'm okay with like introducing something that's like a minimum level of engagement where it's like, you have to make sure that you are, whatever, doing waiver pickups, like stuff like that. Like that's another part of it is you don't want somebody that's, if they go 6 weeks without making a waiver claim, they're probably not even looking. And that,
but there are people who do that. There are people who don't even do waivers in Dynasty because they don't think it's worth their time. And a lot of those people are among the most active traders.
And that's fine if they are. But it's because they're not paying attention, that's another issue.
Not really. Actually, I love playing with people like that because then I'm get waiver claims all the time.
But it sucks because like then you got because if
they're very active, they just don't set waivers.
Let's say you love you love Justin Jefferson. If he happened to be drafted by one of these like completely inactive guys, like you're just never going to get him. He's going to be on his team forever. You're never going to be able to get him.
No, I'm just saying that waivers is a bad way to judge who's active and who's not, because believe me, there are plenty of dynasty managers. I believe Outhouse is one of them who waivers not a big thing for him, but he's like the most active trader in the world. There are many, many dynasty managers who are like that. I hear this on dynasty podcasts all the time, being like, I'm in 20 leagues. Sometimes I miss waiver runs all the time here and there. Sometimes I don't bother. It's a deep league. What am I going to find on waivers? I think I can find players on waivers, but that view I understand. But you're just going to have people who do the minimum. And if you're just in an internet league with just people you don't really know, there's nothing you can do. I will say that if you're in a more, say, high-profile league, there's an expectation of activity, like trade addicts leagues. If you're not active in those leagues, you should go. You shouldn't stay. You should leave, because those leagues are about content too. There's an expectation of activity different from just your standard internet league. A lot of Twitter leagues too. If you're in leagues with all Twitter personalities, all people there's an expectation, I think, of activity. But if you're just in some random internet league with just people you found on a forum, there's just nothing you can do about it.
Is it possible to have too young of a dynasty team?
No. No. Well, I don't even know what that means. No. The answer to this question is no.
I'm hearing some feedback on my end. I'm going to see if I can fix that. We're going to jump back over to the incoming live chat questions.
Here.
There we go.
Another super chat. Thank you. This is great. You gave a super chat, complimented me and my hair. So you did 3 things that'll get a question read. Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. We actually talked about this earlier. I will take Josh Allen because I think he has more upside as a passer, and I think he's going to have more longevity. So I'll take Josh Allen, but I'm not out on Lamar Jackson. I have Lamar Jackson as my 5th overall player in Superflex. So I'm not out on Jackson at all, but I will take Allen.
Yeah, it's Allen for me as well. Are you hearing the feedback too?
No.
Okay, good. If you guys are hearing it, let me know. Otherwise, I will ignore it. So yeah, Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson. Like, I will say there was a league where I did take Lamar Jackson here recently, but there was a point per first down league, and there was like some other little things as far as the rushing that benefited that. So it might depend on your league scoring, but 12 of 10 hair, that is absolutely true. There's been a lot of hair comments today.
I know.
Lots of hair comments. Joe, nice to see you again. Did we get to our Reddit Dynasty questions? We have not yet. They're coming.
On there. They're on the show sheet somewhere.
They are, and we're going to get to it. Stick with us.
We will hopefully get to it in the potential 2 hours and 38 minutes that we have remaining.
AJ says, I actually do want to hear about TK's Chef Life. That might be a separate show where we have to dig in a little bit to the Carps Gambit, maybe. Oh my God. Good. Ed helping us out here. Ed, you're doing a great job helping us. This is about the Queen's game. I thought it was based on a real story. It might be.
It's not.
But loosely based.
Very loosely.
Jerry Judy or Courtney Sutton?
Give me Jerry Judy.
Me too. Yes. All right. Good. Joe plays.
That's actually pretty good.
Rated 1924. What does this mean?
It's an ELO rating. I'm like 2150.
Ooh. Hey, we might have to set up. What if we were able to set up a live chess match? Would people want that between you and Joe?
Nobody wants that.
I think people might want it. It's the off season. We need content. This might be content.
I don't think anybody wants that. I don't think so. I don't think anyone wants that.
This is, we actually answered this. Would you be willing to give 2 wide receiver assets, Ayuk and Deontay Johnson, to acquire Justin Jefferson? Tyler says no. I say yes.
What do you mean?
No, the opposite. You say yes. I say no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this true? Did Devin Singletary get jacked this offseason?
Who cares?
He actually said the same thing. He said, not that it matters. Let's see. Yeah. Sanger says he's from Brazil. Okay. So that explains the currency there. Brazilian currency is real. Yes. I assume that's true.
But close enough.
Tanya or Tony E just gave up 2022 second and third for Kareem Hunt. Not a free agent, but no dead cap and $6 million savings for the Browns in 2022.
Yes, but don't you see how this goes? If he's good, then they'll keep him. If he's bad, then they'll cut him. So if he's good, then he's still going to be there. And if he's bad, then he's going to be elsewhere. So don't you see the kind of danger here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested. But I would still pay this price. This is cheap.
Ja Webb, who is the champion of whatever league all the DLF top guys play in.
If there is one, I don't know anything about it.
I just got in the DLF Dynasty League. I took over. Well, no, there was a draft. I'll see if I can look and see who won it last year. I'm not sure. I'll see if I can look that up. Let's see. Yeah, Gray will only be relevant if Kelsey goes down with an injury. But Willie, I'm not sure he's going to be.
I'm not sure he would be relevant anyway. And also, when was the last time Kelsey missed a game for injury? It was a very long time ago.
Good question, John. A lot of heavy hitters in different ways at DLF. This is true. My guess is Ryan. He's just so good with his strategy. He's probably built himself a great team. I'm still looking at that. We'll see. 12-team Superflex, says Grant.
Oh, here, I gave you another one.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead. So this is AJ McMahon.
Yeah. I'll take Rondell.
Who do you want more? This is a great question. Who do you want more? Elijah Moore or Rondale Moore? Thanks for a great show.
Give me Rondale, just because now that Elijah Moore's breakout is going to be delayed, I'll take my chances on Rondale. Rondale was the better prospect.
Gosh, I just love, it's one of those things where when you're in the middle of June and you already are starting to hear the camp buzz about these players,
I know.
It just gets you excited and it's one of those things you want to hear. Like, this is the kind of thing you want to pay attention to. You started to hear a lot of these things, last year about James Robinson, right? Like, we started hearing a lot of buzz about him at this point.
Yeah, maybe a little. But
yeah, no, it's way better than what you started hearing about, some of these other guys, like, oh, he's not picking up the offense or stuff like that. So I can't find it. I'll see if I can look up who the DLF champion is, but I'm sure it changes year to year.
I don't know if there's such a thing. I mean, yeah, I don't know anything about anything like that.
The part of it is I'm not very good at knowing how in my fantasy league to go back and look at other years. So maybe if somebody knows how to do that, let me know. Grant G, 12-team Superflex. My win window is more next year and after. Go trade Michael Thomas and a package full of failure. Melvin Gordon, Phillip Lindsay, Devontae Parker, and 205 for Joe Mixon, Michael Gallup, Quintez Cephas, and a 2023, second.
Give me the Thomas side.
Yeah. 205 in a Superflex this year is actually pretty decent value.
Yeah, I'd rather have 205 over. I'd rather have 205 over Cephas and 2023 third, 2022 third, 2023 second. I'd rather have 205. I'd rather have Thomas over Mixon. And yeah, I like Gallup, but I'd probably rather have those three players at least at the similar value to Gallup. So give me the Thomas side.
205 right now is Rondale Moore. So that's
give me the Thomas side.
Yeah. Tyler's the man. Please ignore the hate. We love you, bro. Thank you, PJ.
Thank you. Grant
sub. Yeah, good. So we're right at the 90, closing in on the 90-minute mark. Grant mentioned this here. So if you are watching this and thank you for watching, by the way. Thank you for tuning in the show. Thank you for being active in the chat. This is seriously the best chat in the history of YouTube right here on this show. We appreciate all you guys. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you are. It really helps the YouTube algorithm when you hit the like button and when you make a comment. So in the live chat, but also in the comment. If you're watching this back afterwards, which, by the way, for a 4-hour show, something like, I don't know, 300 something people watch this afterwards.
Over 60% or more of the views were watched after.
So thank you for doing that. If that's you watching this, just make sure that you're commenting as well. So we want to hear from you even after the show. And sure, a lot of you play in a league together. There are a few, but it's not like there is like one league. There's too many DLF people to play in
there
like one league.
One league like that at all.
Yep. Yeah, biggest prices are always the loudest.
I think he meant voices.
Yeah, just jealous. Ignore the trash. That's right.
Yep.
Keep up the good intel. Yeah. Cody, 12 team, 1 QB PPR. Michael Gallup plus 2022 third, or Deebo Samuel plus a 2022 second.
Deebo's worth more than Gallup, so the Deebo side.
Yeah, I'd want the Deebo side, but I'd love to see what Gallup can do with given an opportunity to be a more high target guy.
Sure, but Deebo's worth more, so Deebo side pretty easy.
P2 Thar, Tyler definitely makes every video's in much better. Thank you for that. I'm here too, P2 Thar. I mean, no big deal. Like, I'm gonna try and not take this personally, but all right. I'm here too. 2 and 8 for AJ Brown. Ashley,
1 QB. That I will.
Yeah.
2. So that's probably gonna be like Jamar Chase and like
let's see,
Trey Sermon for AJ Brown. It's not enough. Still give me AJ Brown.
Yeah. Gosh, if that 108 somehow ends up being, who would that 108 have to be? Like Javonte Williams or something, but he's not going to fall that far.
It won't be. Yeah, it would probably have to be.
Here we go. Here's an answer. New England style IPAs are the way to go. Thank you.
Maybe.
Appreciate you. Ja Webb, he kicked the guy out of his league.
Wow.
The guy that was in 3 different weeks.
Now that is a problem. Yeah, remember what I talked about, like with the worst of the ones who are doing the minimum, where you can't kick them out. This is not doing the minimum. This is doing way less than the minimum by starting players that are out. So yeah, get that guy out of your league. Can't have that.
OMZH says Saquon Barkley.
I sure hope so.
Yeah,
I really would love to see that.
New York Giants fan right here to my left. So he would certainly like to see that. And yeah, if you have a prediction, feel free to drop those in the chat too. If you got a fire take, we'll react to it. How about that? Let's do that. Give us a fire take.
Yeah, the chat has been quieter today.
Yeah, come on, Chad. Give us a fire take and we'll react to it. Ed says, I think 2.8 is a little pricey for Brown, but I don't hate it.
I said it wasn't, though.
Yeah. Queen's Gambit is based on Judith Polgar.
Someone who's met Judith Polgar.
You have?
Yes.
No way. Get out of here.
I actually took classes from her sister.
What? I'm telling you, we need to do an episode where we do the Carbs Gambit.
I've been to her house. So, someone who knows Judith Polgar, no, she's not based on Judith Polgar. Like, at all. In any way. The Polgars were like an experiment of like raised in a house by their father just to study chess to see how they would do. Like the Queen's Gambit, if you remember the story, has like nothing to do with that. It's like someone like an orphan. Yeah. So literally nothing to do with each other. So no, not at all.
We're going to jump back and answer some of the Twitter / Reddit / YouTube comment questions that we've got in, or forum. And we'll start with @the_Coop. What's your biggest strategy in startup dynasty leagues from when you first began playing to currently, and how did you discover it? So do you have any changes in the way that you play dynasty that you learned along the way?
Yes. I started valuing age. I valued age more. I understood the age curve, how age, affects dynasty value. Like I valued picks correctly. I used to just first round picks. Who needs those? Those are far away. Those are next year. I don't want those. Yeah, I stopped doing that. I got that under control. So yeah, valuing picks, valuing age. It's not redraft. I think those are the main things I learned.
Yeah,
I learned it the hard way.
The picks thing is the one that I thought of when putting this question in, because I did not value draft picks the way that I wanted to. And during the middle of the year, somebody would dangle out a veteran and be like, hey, if you're trying to win this year, make me an offer and it'd be somebody, 27, 28, 29 years old, like you said, with the age. And when I first started, it's like, oh, great. All I got to do is give up this first round pick, 9 months away. Who cares? I'll do that so that I have a chance to win this year. But it just is not the kind of thing that's ultimately going to pay off. So yeah, make sure that you are being smart about your picks and
100%.
not just giving them away frivolously. What'd you say?
No, I agree. You gotta hold on to those picks.
Any tips on how to prep a startup draft board at Rocky Top 26?
I've talked about this. I did a whole article on it, actually. You can go find that in my article archive. But, quick tip, just rank the players based on the format in the order you want to take them. And then cross each one off as they're selected. So that way you don't miss anything.
Do you like a tiers approach?
Not really, actually. A lot of people say to do it, but I actually don't find it to be that helpful, because generally when I do tiers, I tier by position, not by everything. So, but tiering by position is great in redraft when you're worried about building a balanced roster. But in Dynasty, I want to just take value, value, value. So I'm not scared of missing out on a tier in this position for this one in the same way. So I actually don't find tiers to be, personally, for me, very helpful. I don't use them when drafting Dynasty. And I just kind of rank them in order. With that in mind, I have some idea of where are dead zones in the draft, but I wouldn't say I formally tier it. I think I'm just better off having an idea in my mind of where I might want to trade back, rather than forcing myself into rigid tiers. I think that approach works better. I do it in redraft. In redraft, I tier every position, and then I just don't even have an overall ranking when I'm drafting. I just look at each position one at a time. But in Dynasty, when you're trying to build overall value, I don't look at it position by position. I look at it overall versus overall. So that's the biggest change for me. And that's why I don't use tiers, really, in Dynasty.
Yeah, I kind of like the tier approach to a degree, but not necessarily the same way that I think a lot of people do it. I'm much more in I want value, and I usually like to let the draft come to me. Like when I get too anxious and start trying to think of, I've got to have a rigid strategy, that's when I think I draft my worst teams. I like letting value fall to me and having it come through. So speaking of value, is there any to be found in Detroit? Who is Detroit's wide receiver 1 at the end of the season?
Amon-Ra, but I don't want any of them. I don't want Jared Goff's receivers. I don't want that. I mean, the answer is TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah. Yeah, gosh. What about there's been a lot of noise about Tyrell Williams.
What noise?
There's been some reports that he's looked really good in camp, running ahead of Rashad Perryman, which okay.
And Tyrell Williams was last relevant when?
Forever ago.
Forever
in the 60s,
ago.
I think. Yeah.
We don't want forever ago.
Yeah. Okay. You say Amon-Ra. So is there a scenario that Amon-Ra St. Brown fails in this offense?
Yes, because he's a 4th round pick, so there's no guarantee he's going to succeed. The scenario that he fails is that he's a 4th round pick and he's not very good. Then he fails.
The
opportunity alone is not enough. You have to actually be good. So that's the scenario in which he fails if he's bad.
I've been reading a lot out of Detroit, and it's really interesting to see, because I really love Amon-Ra St. Brown, but the reports are that he looks really good, great route running, all that. They aren't sure he's going to be athletic enough, and man, that hurts my heart, because that probably is true. I think he's a technician. I think he's really smart. Speaking of people who love chess, I bet he does. He took the SATs in 3 different languages.
Oh, good for him.
Little known fact: French, German, and English, and did good in all of them. Amon-Ra St. Brown, smart guy. What are your thoughts on Jordan Love?
Oh man, I don't think he's very good, but you never know. He has a very wide range of outcomes.
That's one we've talked about a little bit. Basically, every week we've talked about Jordan Love. He's been in the news a lot. We talked about this one a lot too. Buffalo backfield, stuck on them in Dynasty, says Matt Too Frosty.
We answered this earlier.
Yeah.
It's either Zach Moss or nothing. I would lean toward nothing.
Then who's the wide receiver 1 in New England?
Nelson Aguilar. But I like Jacoby Myers as a sleeper. Not N'Keal Harry.
All right. Let's go and say, how about Jacob Harris? How excited should we be for Jacob Harris?
We should be decently excited, but don't get carried away. Like, don't go trade a second-round pick for him. But he should not be on any waiver wires. He should be on a team in every Dynasty league. Yeah. Tight end premium or not, super flex or not, no matter what. He should be on a roster. To give you an idea, right now, I have him still behind guys like OJ Howard, Rob Gronkowski, Chris Herndon, who've like shown something in the league, but I have him ahead of like Dalton Schultz, Harrison Bryant, who we talked about earlier, and like other rookies like Hunter Long are also behind. Like Dawson Knox is also behind. I'd rather just take my chances that Jacob Harris is the real deal over those guys. So, yeah, that's about where he comes in the tight end ranking. And he should be on a roster for pretty much any format. Tight end premium for sure. No way you could have him in free agency at this point.
Really? So Joe was in the chat room earlier, and she asked about if we had gotten to her Reddit questions. Here was one of them. Interesting question. Should we be finding out which players are playing behind anti-vaxxers just in case they retire due to COVID protocols?
Okay. I will be right back. You vamp.
Okay. I'll keep answering questions here. It's interesting about the anti-vaxxers, whatever. I don't want to get into, the details on this stuff, but I do think it's worth monitoring, because if there is any chance that these guys are going to walk away from playing, then we should know that. At the end of the day, I don't think anybody's going to actually stop playing because of this. I think cooler heads ultimately are going to prevail. And I think it's an interesting thought, Joe, but no, I don't think we need to be paying too much attention to this. Feels like kind of off-season buzz that I'm just not sure we need to spend a ton of time on. So as we're in here and we're going through the chat, I'm going to jump back over to your comments. And let's see, we'll jump away from the Twitter questions until Tyler is back to join us. And yeah, so there's Joe. It says, hello, Brazilian currency being real. We talked about that a little bit. A lot of heavy hitter. So here we go. Let's find where we were. Grant said he subbed. Let's see. Where were we? This is why it's hard. Addison does a great job with his solo videos. It's hard. It's hard in here to make sure that you don't have anybody to play off of like this, but appreciate you guys sticking with us. Yeah, here we go. This is where we were. So close call, Elijah over Rondale. Yeah, I think so too. And I know Tyler doesn't agree with that. He's saying Rondale. But I just love when you start hearing these people hype up players. Elijah Moore is one of those that's getting hyped up a ton right now. So look, I just think if you were counting on Crowder being gone to invest in Elijah Moore, that to me, like, bet on talent. And we talked a little bit about the difference between redraft and Dynasty. I think in Dynasty, we want to make sure that we are betting on talent. Ed says, as soon as Crowder gets traded. Hey, Tyler, there he is.
Oh, my God.
It's scary by yourself, Tyler. It's scary.
It must be. I did it that week you were late. I did it. It was a disaster. But yeah, I need the chat to let's raise the energy. I feel like I don't know what's up with me. Maybe I'm still off after all that negativity that was put toward me yesterday, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like I don't have it today. Great. So let's Let's keep the energy going.
Really good question from Tony E here. How can you honestly assess whether your team is a contender?
Oh my God.
Changes the way you make trades, i.e. sell picks versus buy. What do you think? How can you have an honest assessment?
Look at your roster position by position. Look at the starting lineup of the league. Look at how much depth you have beyond that starting lineup. And then, be honest with yourself. Also, like redraft tools, like what they have at like Fantasy Pros that's a way you can evaluate your team if you're a subscriber there. That's actually what I use to do like the redraft stuff.
PT Thar, you're great too, Cal. Thank you. I appreciate that. Look, Tyler's the star of the show. I get it. He's the star of the show. But hey, I appreciate compliments every now and then. That's good.
You saw how it was. The people saw how it was when I was here alone. They saw how much of a disaster that was. So this show would not be possible without Cal. I love working.
We're a good team.
I love working with Cal.
We're a good team. So fire take. Good. Hey, keep those coming in. If you have a fire take, keep them coming.
Okay.
Mr. Chanel be the wide receiver one on his team and a top 15 Dynasty wide receiver.
I mean, the first half is not that fiery given the comments about him in training camp and about Chark.
Yeah.
The second half, top 15.
So let's see. Top 15 puts him in.
I can tell you where I had him right now. I had him at, from those rankings that I posted, I think he was 28? 28. So 15 would be a big jump.
Yeah. Can he, as I'm looking at it here, I mean, you're thinking about guys like Mike Evans is wide receiver 14. Can he get to the point where he has that much value?
My next article is about how Mike Evans is laughably overvalued.
Okay.
Mike Evans for me is wide receiver 25.
Chris Godwin is 15 right now. And this is the ADP, by the way. This is ADP.
But do you think like Chenault is ever going to be that? Like, do you think he's going to get 15? I think is right around his ceiling. Because like the kind of player, it's hard to be top 15 without really being like a real alpha. And Chenault's never going to be that. So who's the highest ranked player who's not really an alpha? Moore, 13 for me. Yeah. DJ Moore. So he's not an alpha. He's a 1, but he's not a real alpha. So yeah, 15 is right around the maximum.
All aboard the Visca Express. Here's another hot take. Is Javonte Williams going to have more points than Najee?
No. That there's like no chance of that. If Najee Harris is healthy for the full 17, I give this basically zero chance.
Man,
it's
just the offense is so bad in Denver. I just don't know.
It's not even that. Najee Harris is going to have 325 touches.
He could.
No, not he could. He will. Healthy Najee has 325 touches. Easy. It's not that many.
Let's see. What's the buy price for Myles Gaskin, PPR Dynasty?
Probably too expensive. It's probably going to cost a first to get him, and I'm not paying it.
Ooh, no, I'm not paying that for sure.
Yeah, not paying it. So
I think I'm out on Gaskin.
I'm fine with him, but I'm not. He's such a hold.
I think I'm out. I never find he's never available at any point of a startup where I feel like he's a good value. I just think, I'm not in. Fire take from Ja Webb. And look, if you're watching this, get those fire takes in. Go ahead, get them in the comments. We're going to read them. We'll react to them. Pollard gets extended for cheap within the next year, and the Cowboys walk away from Ezekiel Elliott after 2 more seasons.
No.
I'm not holding on to Pollard for 2 years, hoping Zeke goes away for 2 years. In 2 years.
What Pollard is? I'm not doing that. Pollard is? You know really what he is?
What is he?
What you're hoping for is if Chase Edmonds hits this year, that's what you're hoping Pollard might eventually be. I'm not going and paying for that. I don't want that. 2 years from now. So, no, I'm actually very out on Pollard at his current price. It's way too high.
Would you do this? Blake said he sold Gaskin for 2022 seconds.
In a super flex, yeah. In a 1 QB, if I were rebuilding, I would do it. Otherwise, no.
All right, we're going to jump back over into our questions that we got from Twitter, Reddit, all these different places, and the Steve Madden shoes in the DLF forum. He was the most talented wide receiver in Pittsburgh.
The most talented?
Mm-hmm.
Deontay Johnson.
Yes.
But that's not the same as the most valuable.
I love Deontay Johnson.
The most valuable wide receiver is Chase Claypool, but that's just because of how Chase Claypool was born. Like Chase Claypool just is bigger than Deontay Johnson. He has athletic ability that Deontay Johnson does not have, will never have, and will never even come close to having.
Mm-hmm.
Like Deontay Johnson, the problem with Deontay Johnson is what really is Deontay Johnson's value upside, right? I mean, I have Deontay Johnson ranked in Dynasty as like what? Wide receiver 22. What's Johnson's upside? He's never going to be top 12 because he doesn't have the athleticism. Like, and he's already older than DJ Moore. I think that's it, right? I mean, for him to be the DJ Moore type player, I think that's his upside. And he's already older. So what's his upside? 15, 16 at best? So at 22, you're not looking at a massive upside. So, you know, I have Claypool at 19, but with Claypool's athleticism, Claypool could be a dynasty wide receiver 1. Look, this is just how it works, right?
It could be.
But this is how it works, right? In Dynasty, how often are you a dynasty wide receiver 1 without extreme athleticism or an alpha profile? It usually doesn't happen, right?
No.
There aren't any in there.
You can finish as a wide receiver 1 without
you
that.
Won't be
but that's
valued that way.
Not the same thing as a dynasty wide receiver 1.
You don't get the value. Even Keenan Allen struggled to be a dynasty wide receiver 1 at times.
Yes.
Just because he doesn't have the athleticism, even though he was a stud. So, yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to go with Claypool for the value upside. I still think Claypool is very good. I mean, look, you don't come into an offense as a rookie with other good wide receivers on the team and like score the amount of touchdowns he did and put up the production he did if you're bad. Bad players don't do that. You don't produce like that as a rookie. Look at Claypool's 2020 and DK Metcalf's 2019. Go compare the two, and you'll see that they look very similar.
Oh, PJ says Claypool's so overrated.
He's not overrated. Juju's the overrated one.
He would have to be a super target hog to be top 10. But I think even like thinking about
he'll
like
never have the value. He'll never have
value.
top 10 value in Dynasty, especially with the quarterback uncertainty. He's just not. I think a lot of Deontay Johnson's higher end value is tied to Ben specifically and the connection that they have. He could be a target hog anyway, but I just think that Deontay Johnson's never going to be a top 10 dynasty wide receiver no matter what. Because he's really not that good of a player. You think Deontay Johnson is a top 10 receiver in the league? No. And he's already going to be turning 25, so it's not like he's 21.
I saw PJ is asking about whether or not we answered his question. We'll answer that one right after this one. Ed jumps in. Can you discuss the 2021 Pittsburgh offense?
Pittsburgh?
Yeah. What does Ben have left? That's really the question with Claypool, right?
I'm down on them all. Like, I'm low in 2021 on all of the Pittsburgh wide receivers, pretty much. It's Johnson and Juju I find myself way out on. But I also am not that high on Claypool. I have Claypool for this year at 26. But
heavy run game. You agree with that? You just had 350 touches. That's a lot for a rookie.
Heavy touches, yeah. I think Ben has nothing left. So yeah, I'm expecting a heavy run game. I have Najee Harris for the year as an RB1, and in Dynasty as RB7. So yes, I'm expecting a heavy dose of Najee Harris. And yeah, no more Juju. Get failure out of here. Juju is not very good, man. I mean, look at the last 2 years. Really, what are the excuses? What are the excuses? What were the excuses last year? There are no excuses.
No excuses.
There are no excuses because a lot of his production came in the games that Deontay went out injured or didn't play. But when Deontay was on the field, you saw who was the number one target. When Deontay was present, he was the clear number one target ahead of Juju. They didn't even want to re-sign Juju. They did not want to re-sign him. They were fine letting him go. And then when he got no offers in free agency, this is what happened. People don't recognize this, but this is what happened. When he sat out there in free agency for like 4 days, and then he came crawling back to them for his 1 year, $8 million. That is what happened. They didn't want him. No more Juju for me. It's the other two, and I think both could be good choices, but just not Juju.
PJ Kennedy, I'm in a $500 Dynasty startup league with only 8 teams.
Guess it's hard to find 12 teams to pay $500 for a Dynasty league.
Yeah, it's a half PPR. I did not see whether it was a super flex league. That was the only thing I didn't see.
Stud up in an eight teamer. The fewer teams you have, the more studs matter because everyone's going to have a good team in an 8 teamer. So you got to stud up. Usually I advise trading down, not so in an 8 teamer. I want as many like studs as I possibly can get. Just get your stud players. You're going to need multiple studs, 3-4 stud type players to win. And Ed has it exactly right. In an 8-team league, studs win. So yeah, stud up. Don't trade down. I always advise trading down, but not in an 8-teamer.
Travis Kelce in the first is like a no-brainer, I think.
No.
Yeah, because you want that advantage, that positional advantage.
No. We're not taking Travis Kelce in the first. No. No, stud running backs. You need the stud running backs.
Oh gosh,
it's only half PPR. I like it even less. You're going to need the stud running backs.
Just the difference in Kelce and everybody else. You got to.
Here's the other thing, though.
Here's the other thing. 3 guys you need. That's going to be a big advantage for you.
Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to pick a bunch of early wide receivers because in 8 teams, there's going to be enough wide receivers for everyone to have good wide receivers. I want running backs. Running backs are going to be what you need to dominate this league. So I'm going to take running backs even earlier than I normally would, combined with the fact that it's half PPR.
I think the value of like the top 3 quarterbacks goes up and the value of the top 3 tight ends goes up.
Not the quarterbacks, because anybody can find. It's only 1 QB, 8 teams. Like anyone can find a quarterback.
Yeah, that's true, but like at the same time, like it just accentuates the difference between.
Yeah, but you're forgetting that like if you have 3 quarterbacks and you play the matchups, you can make that up. Trust me. A lot of the problem in a dynasty league when you get into Superflex is if you have 2 bad quarterbacks and you have to play them every week, you can't do it. But if you are in an 8-team league and every team can have 3 or 4 quarterbacks, the last thing I'm doing is spending on a stud quarterback. I want running backs. You cannot make it up at running back. Whereas at wide receiver, you can. At quarterback, easy to make it up in an 8-teamer. There's no competition for it. Tight end, I understand a little bit, but running back, I'm hammering those stud running backs in an 8-teamer.
If you're starting 2 of them, I just there's so many running backs.
Well, I have no idea how many running backs you're able to start.
Yeah.
For all we know, it's just 2 running backs and 4 flexes. You can start 6 running backs. And believe me, if I can start 6 RB1s, I'd love to. That's the kind of edge you're going to get in an 8-teamer. But either way, I think we agree on the idea of stud up.
Definitely. And you're swinging for the fences, especially when you get past those like 20 bench plus 10 taxi. That's going to be a pretty, it's going to be a pretty large, because it's only 8 teams, you're not getting like super
that's
far.
Shallow.
Yeah, but to have a 10 taxi, that's pretty big. Like, I mean, I don't think
that's such a large taxi. That's such a large taxi. That's weird.
Yeah. So I think you're swinging for the fences on some of your, later picks. This is where you're not taking guys that are going to give you a single.
That's another thing. Just don't bother with like Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, no.
Jarvis Landry even. Like, just don't bother. Like, you're not going to start those players. And if you are, you're losing. You need better players. You don't need safe.
Right. Like you're taking AJ Dillon over like a Chase Edmonds because there's a chance AJ Dillon becomes the guy.
Well, I would take AJ Dillon over Chase Edmonds anyway.
Yeah.
But those guys both have different kinds of upside. It's more like, let me give you a good example. You're
not taking Zach Moss.
Probably not. Well, running backs are still important. It's really wide receivers. Like I'm not taking, like I mentioned Sterling Shepard. Like I'm not taking Sterling Shepard at all. Like Marvin Jones, just forget it. Don't even bother.
Not in this kind of league.
Just take some sort of running back. You're not going to need Marvin Jones in an 8-teamer. In a 12-teamer, I like him as a veteran buy, but just those kind of guys, like, Cole Beasley, who we mentioned, unfortunately, earlier, just don't bother. You don't need players like that. Take your upside. Take your Javian Hawkins or your Jared Dokes at that stage instead of a Cole Beasley.
So this is a complicated question. It's going to take me pulling up a few. So
all right.
Steve Madden Shoes from DLF.
Thank you for contributing on the DLF forum. That's another place we got some questions.
This is a great name, Steve Madden Shoes. Did you ever have Steve Madden Shoes?
No.
Okay.
What kind of question is that?
I don't know. We're starting a 12-team best ball dynasty league. 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex with a PPR. And tight end premium. 25 total roster spots. 2021 picks will be included in the startup draft. We'll understand in redraft best ball leagues, having 3 mid-tier quarterbacks is a decent strategy. How does your strategy change in dynasty best ball? Somewhat short bench format from a traditional 2 quarterback or super flex league, especially in regards to the QB position. So, any differences in the way you're going to approach it if it's a dynasty best ball?
Like versus regular?
Yeah, versus redraft. He's saying so in redraft best ball leagues, 3 mid-tier quarterbacks is what you want to go with.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about like a dynasty best ball versus like a redraft best ball contest?
Exactly.
They have nothing in common whatsoever.
Nothing, yeah.
Nothing.
Yes.
Just, anything anyone says about a redraft best ball contest, just throw that in the trash. It's irrelevant to Dynasty at all. Right. Dynasty best ball is more similar to Dynasty regular than it is to redraft best ball. Just ignore it all. It's completely not helpful, irrelevant. It has nothing to do with it whatsoever.
Great shoes.
Because you're still building Dynasty. You're still keeping the players forever. A lot of those strategies in a redraft best ball are based on bye weeks. They're based on like schedules. They're based on like matchup looking in advance. They're based on stacking, which is just not something I'm going to do if I have to keep the players forever. We also just got a live question.
Okay, put it up.
I don't know if I can. But I'll send it to you in the private chat. We just got that on our comment on one of the Twitter streams.
I got it. I'll put it up there. We'll go in just a second. Here, you said before, you're better off starting a new league than transitioning from one QB to flex. What are good ways to add value to QBs in one? For instance, how about 0.1 points per completion?
Oh, it's points per completion, not point per carry.
Yeah. But I guess it could be carry, but I think it's probably completion, basically, because it's 0.1.
Yeah, it doesn't though. Like, it accentuates the differences, but it doesn't give quarterbacks more trade value. That's the thing. The quarterback trade value is not going to be there because it's the scarcity that creates the quarterback trade value in a super flex league.
So who did that comment come in from? That's the only thing I didn't see.
Oh, I don't know, but it's a account with a lot of numbers in there.
Okay, numbered account, 2 quarterback dynasty startup from the 1-5. Justin Herbert, Akers on the clock next. Who do you like? Pitts, Chase, or Zeke, Kelsey, Allen? So, wow, Kelsey is still there.
So let's see. So I assume that Herbert went at 105. Good choice. Not probably who I would have chosen, but choosing a quarterback there is correct. And then they came back around and took Akers at what would that be, 208?
Now on the clock in the third.
Akers at 208 is very reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to be up at 305 with one of these guys: Pitts, Chase, Zeke, Kelsey, or Keenan Allen. Not Keenan Allen. I'm not taking Keenan Allen.
It's definitely not Keenan
Allen. Do we know? I don't think we're going to know what kind of premium there is.
It's also not Ezekiel Elliott in the third round. That's not
going to be Ezekiel Elliott. I'd rather have Chase or Pitts, depending. I don't know how big of a premium we have here.
It's just a matter of I think Pitts, Chase, or Kelsey still has a lot of value to me. It depends on based on going to Herbert and Akers.
If it's a big premium, I would consider Kelsey.
Yeah. Gosh, with this start, I'm probably staying young and probably going Pitts or Chase here. And for me, that would be Chase.
Yeah, it would be for me too, but we don't really know what the premium is.
If it's that, but the fact that Kelsey and Pitts haven't gone already in the third round tells me it's
probably tells me there's not much of a premium. So I'll go with Chase. I'd also consider it's a 2 QB. They didn't say anything about what quarterbacks are left. There are 11 quarterbacks I would consider. And a 2 QB, there's probably actually more. And a 2 QB, I'm not going without at quarterback. I would. No,
you got to make sure you get another quarterback, and it's 2
if
QB.
Fields or Lance are still there, I would take them, but I assume they're gone. Russell Wilson, I would also take, but I assume he's gone. Then there's Watson, maybe, and then there's like Tannehill, Stafford, and a 2 QB, pure 2 QB. I'd consider it. Not in a super flex, but in a pure 2 QB, I'd consider it.
ADC says...
Yeah, we talked about this.
Did we? Oh, we did. I'm sorry. Who do you think is an elite fantasy producer who falls out of the elite tier this year? For instance, top 12.
And then I'll go to the super chat after this. So, elite fantasy producer that falls out of the elite tier. So, are we talking... Well, what are we looking at? Falls out of the elite dynasty tier or falls out of the elite tier in terms of their scoring?
We'll take dynasty.
Okay, so I was listening to the Dynasty Builders podcast. That's in the DLF family of podcasts.
Yeah.
And they actually covered this entire thing about each position, who was going to fall out, who was going to stay in. I believe they've just finished up that series.
There we go.
So if we're talking about who's going to fall out in terms of dynasty, let's do one by one. So quarterback, Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson is one not so great season away from being dynasty. I'm done with him. A lot of inconsistency. I think one more kind of not so great year, inconsistent year, and I think he'll fall out of the dynasty's top 12. So that's the only one really. I mean, who's even in the top 12 at QB?
Aaron Rodgers is the other one that's currently going in the top 12.
Aaron Rodgers is in the top. That's laughable.
He's 12 right now, yeah.
Well, that's stupid. I actually wrote a whole lot. That was actually my latest article, was about the current Superflex ADP landscape. Let's read a sentence from that article about Aaron Rodgers. Let's see. What does it say? Aha. Let's see. I couldn't disagree more with his current Superflex ADP, given his 37-year-old age and his current situation. There's that.
Yeah.
And then passing on the potential of Lance or Fields for a dying asset in Rodgers is dynasty malpractice.
Mm-hmm.
These are things that are about to be printed. Aaron Rodgers as a top 12 dynasty QB is a joke.
Yeah.
37 years old, holding out right now. He's going ahead of Trey Lance.
I think running back is an easy one. It's Derrick Henry. He's got the biggest chance of falling out.
Well, I don't think it's a chance. I think it's a given.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be top 12 next year at 28. He just won't.
The other one, I think we talk a lot about Derrick Henry's workload. Dalvin Cook's had a lot of work lately too.
Yeah, a lot of the older running backs are right on the edge. Is Zeke still in the top 12?
Yeah, he's 12 right now. So
yeah, he's another one.
Yep.
Chubb.
Kamara's close. Kamara's probably the next.
Chubb, if he doesn't really produce this year and he's going into a contract year, also turns 26. He'll probably hang on because he hasn't been around as long, so people don't think he's as old, but he's actually the same birth year as Zeke and Kamara and Cook.
Interesting. Yeah, on the wide receiver part, I mean, there's so many to choose from.
Oh, Devontae Adams is the gimme there. I mean, if he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers and he produces what he's going to produce with Love, he's not going to be top 12.
What about Tyreek Hill at 27 years old? He'll be 28 next year.
I think he'll hang on because he has Mahomes.
I think he'll hang on too.
Like DeAndre Hopkins is going to turn 30 next year, and that probably means he's out.
You probably have to trade Hopkins this year.
No, that window passed when he was traded to the Cardinals. If you were going to trade him, you had your chance. Now you're taking the rest of Hopkins' career.
Gosh. Tight end, I don't know. There's no telling. There's like 4 guys you want and 5 guys you want like that, and nobody else.
Fall out of the top 10. I mean, I only have like 7 guys I really want, maybe 8 if you include Dallas Goedert.
Here you go, Logan Thomas. He's going at number 10 right now. He's not going to
be there. So, the tight end is whatever.
Super chat time. Colwyn Porter says, and thank you, Colwyn. We appreciate that. By the way, this is a great way to get your question read ASAP. As soon as we see it, we are going to be able to. We're going to jump over to the super chat.
It's been quiet on the super chats this week. Continue to send them in.
Yeah, there's no look. You certainly don't have to do that, but we appreciate when you do. And again, it's one of those things that our bosses certainly look at and say, like, "Hey, that's really good. You guys must like what we're doing." So appreciate that. He's got Kyler, Dak, and Trevor Lawrence in a 2 QB league. Thank you, Tyler. I now sleep great at night.
Yes, this is a Patreon comment.
So is that really? Yeah. So
this is just
Patreon. You want to tell everybody how they can find that?
You can find it. I mean, we can drop the link in the chat. I mean, I have patreon.com/fantasy advice.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. But I actually have that. That's my domain. I can drop the link.
Let's go back to.
There's the link.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and you can pull it up.
I just dropped it, but now it's gonna post from everybody.
Yeah, this is going back to Miles Gaskin. Blake sold this. We talked about that. Hopefully, Gaskin's put together 3 or 4 solid games and sell. That's how I feel.
I agree. You might if you can sell for a first at that point, then yeah.
PJ, we just did this. Mark, hot take. Matt Stafford will be top 5 QB.
How's he going to be top 5?
It's hard.
He doesn't run. It's going to be hard.
It's hard to be top 5 if you don't run, Mark.
I don't think it's possible. I mean,
I'm excited for him though. I mean, I like what he can do.
I mean, last year Tom Brady wasn't even top 5, and he had 3 rushing touchdowns that he doesn't usually have.
He's a great goal line back. That Tom Brady.
I know, but he wasn't even top 5.
Too Thar, if I trade Juju, could I get a 2022 or 2023 first?
In a 1 QB, you probably can.
Yeah.
And I would do it. I would just take a 2022 first and just move on, I guess.
Is Tony Pollard the best backup running back in the league?
No, Kareem Hunt is.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt is the best. James Robinson is the second best. And then
Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards, I think, is a little lower down. I think A.J. Dillon is better than Gus Edwards. Just because of the draft capital. But yeah, I think Gus Edwards is more. See, that's actually something interesting. Like, I have Pollard ranked a lot higher than Gus Edwards. But is Pollard really better? I don't know.
If they both got the job, Yeah, it'd be interesting to
Pollard
see.
would be a lot better because he'll have the receiving work, whereas Gus Edwards can't catch a thing. That's why I guess I have Pollard higher.
Let's see. What to do with James Robinson, says Ja Webb. Trying to sell him, but now I'm just keeping him.
Don't bother selling him. He's an obvious hold on the off chance that we have a Chris Carson, Rashad Penny situation here. On the off chance. That's not at all what I'm predicting. But I don't see how you sell him because nobody wants him. Like, I heard someone saying that they would rather have Tony Pollard over James Robinson. I think that that's insane, given what James Robinson has showed in his career versus Tony Pollard. But if that's what people are saying, you can't sell James Robinson.
This goes back to PJ's question about his 8-team league. He was going to go 4 running backs.
Because there's going to be so many wide receivers. It's so easy to make up wide receiver. You can find wide receiver anywhere in an 8-team league. But, like, there's 50 startable wide receivers. But running back, there's still a shortage of those. I do like the idea of getting one early tight end. I'm not willing to give up, like, a workhorse running back to do it. But I might take a tight end earlier than I would.
I don't think I'm going 4 running backs. I mean, you might be able to get an advantage there, but like if you're starting,
I'd go 4 running backs if the value were on 4 running backs, but I'd make a board for the specific format and then go off of that.
But if you're starting Dallas Goedert at tight end and somebody else has still good running backs, but they're starting Kittle.
I mean, you can't make up workhorse running backs though. And there's only one Travis Kelce. Like, it's still going to be that 7 teams don't have Travis Kelce.
Exactly. That's why he's a first-round pick. Thank you. I couldn't have said it better.
It doesn't work that way. If there were, it would be more that way if there were 6 Travis Kelces. If there were actually 5 or 6 really good tight ends, I would agree with you more. Because then the disadvantage to not having one of them is bigger. But since there's only one, really, that makes a difference, like an unbeatable difference, then I'm not as concerned about it. And this is very true.
8-team leagues should have 5+ flex spots. I agree. People make fun of 8-team leagues, and I get it, but it does force you to make some really tough starting. Like, everybody's got a good roster, sure, but like when you're having to make some tough choices between who to start, like it's harder than people think.
I'm not a big fan.
Great to trade 14-team Superflex Dynasty. I traded away Nick Chubb for Austin Eckler, DJ Chark, and Ramondre Stevenson. Who won?
Eckler's side.
I love Eckler, man. But Chubb is like, I think he's going for 2,000 yards plus this year.
14-team, give me the Eckler side very easily.
I just don't. I guess Ramondre Stevenson doesn't do much for me. And
what's going to be the difference? What's going to be the difference in production between Chubb and Eckler? I think Chubb is overvalued, personally.
Yeah, I think that's where it's different.
Like, really, Chubb is going almost a full round higher than Zeke, and I don't get it.
See, I do. The Cleveland Browns have the best offensive line in the NFL. Like,
is there a Kareem Hunt? Is there a Kareem Hunt on the Cowboys?
He's still going to get plenty of work. I mean, they've got an offense that's built to run the ball well. He's going to get plenty.
He doesn't get any receptions.
He was targeted more than Hunt at the end of the year. It was a little fluky, but at the end of the year, he actually
targeted more than Zeke. I don't think so.
I would definitely rather have Chubb than Zeke.
They're not that.
You'd rather have Zeke than Chubb?
They're not that different. I'd rather have Chubb, but they're almost the same.
Yeah. I do like Austin Eckler.
Who you want as your quarterback, Baker Mayfield or Dak Prescott? Which offense do you trust more?
The one with the better offensive line. I'm telling you, Dick Chubb, that's the best offensive line in the NFL.
Chubb is like the most overvalued. I don't get it. I just don't understand like his current ADP. He's going ahead of Gibson and Swift. Why?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Going ahead of Najee Harris. Why?
Yeah.
Just don't get it. I just don't get it. And since I
disagree on that one.
Since I just don't get it, to me, this is easy. It's easily the Eckler side because in a 14-team, depth is everything.
Local liability.
I don't think I ever really answered because I'm not really buying Gaskin.
Yeah.
I'm not voluntarily putting myself into Gaskin. If I already have him, I'm probably holding. Assuming I'm a contender. If I'm a rebuilder, I'll take what I can get.
Wow, it really did post from everybody when you posted the
It posted from everybody, yeah.
Oh wow, roster 60 after our draft cut at 53 for the season. Wow.
What kind of league is that?
That's a lot. Let's see. We go. Yeah, AJ Dillon has to be up there. I agree.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt is the clear best backup running back, though.
Visco over Chark, no doubt.
Yeah.
Could be. I don't think either has good 4 running backs and Hawk. I mean, maybe. I just don't know if Hawk. Maybe,
it's going to come down to the value. You remember what we said. We don't lock in particular strategies in advance, but I'm just telling you how I'd move my board beforehand. Running backs would move slightly up and receivers slightly down.
We're going to jump back over to some of our Twitter / Reddit / YouTube comments / DLF forum questions. If you have questions and you're watching this back, that is a way that you can absolutely get questions into the show. Also, if you're watching this, you can write down below. You can on the live chat, you can ask those, and we will jump back into those. Augustus McCray 15. There are so many times where I want to ask questions about people's usernames. They intrigue me. I have rookie picks 1 and 2. Current roster. He's got Chubb, Jake. Does the roster even matter? What is he doing with his rookie picks number 1 and number 2?
The roster doesn't matter. And I'll go Harris and Chase.
Yeah, Chase and Harris for me. I mean, Pitts is close. But yeah, I think Chase and Harris to me.
It's close to premium, but in a regular, it's not. Not for me.
Value-wise, like he's the least likely to use value from now to next season.
Right, but if you look at the 1 QB ADP, I mean, I guess it is close. I don't think it should be. I mean, Harris is a full round above Pitts. Chase is a few spots higher.
Yeah.
People are starting to buy in on the Harris workhorse thing.
Agreed. Feedy Wop says, what rookies are you taking a shot on later in rookie drafts? I drafted Tutu Atwell in the 4th. It's nice of you to be able to admit that.
Yeah.
Feedy.
Elijah Mitchell is someone I'm taking a shot on.
Yeah. Talk about him.
Case. Well, I mean, you want a piece of the San Francisco backfield just in case that Trey Sermon is not the real deal. Mostert, I think, is washed. So I'd like to take a chance on Elijah Mitchell. We talked about Josh Palmer earlier, playing with Herbert, has a chance to flash and gain some value. Those are actually a big 2.
You kind of like Frank Darby, I think, if I remember correctly.
That's free agent. That's not pick. Cornell Powell would be someone I would draft. Frank Darby, we're talking about like after the draft, picking up off of waivers.
Yeah, he's going in that 4th round range according to ADP. Yeah, there's not a lot down there that I'm like
Dokes, Jared Dokes. I would still take a chance on.
If in Wangu, maybe if he last later,
maybe, but he would be a little bit later. Amir Smith-Marset, wide receiver from the Vikings, and then also Jacob Harris. And it's tight end premium we talked about earlier. I'd love to take a shot on.
Very true. What's your general rookie draft strategy? Team need or BPA? I know we talked about this a few times.
Always BPA.
Always best player available. Do not draft for need in your rookie drafts. Do not.
Don't draft for need in any draft.
Never. Yeah, in no draft.
That's what doesn't care. In redraft, you draft for need. In Dynasty, you draft for value. That's the biggest thing that does not carry over from redraft to Dynasty.
Coffee and bubblegum from Reddit. Your ideal startup strategy. Do you like to trade back for more assets or do you stay put and take the best value?
I generally prefer to trade back, but
me too.
Depends on the starting lineup. If it's a really shallow league or less teams, then I won't trade back as much. Trading up, I find to be difficult no matter the format. But again, if it's a really small starting lineup or smaller league, I'll try it at least. In your regular 12-team league, it's rare that I ever trade up unless I get a really good deal.
I guess in a lot of my leagues, like I don't wind up getting really good value to trade back. Because I feel like everybody wants to trade back. All of a sudden,
I always get it. It's there.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of my experience comes from these Patreon things, and a lot of those leagues are not full of art managers. Like, it's someone playing with me against like a crowd of nobodies.
Yeah.
So like, it's me essentially playing against like people who might not be as experienced or taking my advice and rolling them, which I'm fine with.
You absolutely trade back.
And I find that it works very well.
Yeah. People get excited about players they want, stuff like that. And values end up falling.
People make decisions based on emotions, wanting to have a certain player, take advantage of that, and you get value off of them by trading back. And here's something
that I almost always do if I'm in a startup. Like when my turn to pick comes up, I'm almost always in the middle of something anyway. So I'm not really lying, but like I'll say like, oh hey, I'm about to go pick up so-and-so, pick up my kid from whatever, and I'll be back in about an hour. My pick is on the block. Maybe make me an offer, but if I don't get any good offers, I'll make my pick when I get back.
That rubs me the wrong way.
I'll do it every time, and it almost always works.
No, that rubs me the wrong way. In that, just say your pick's on the block. Like the rest of the story. There are people who've done that in leagues with me, and I like blasted them for it.
Oh, dude, no. Like I like it because it gives a time. Like it gives like I'm gonna make my pick in X amount of.
I just don't need an excuse. Like I'm just not interested in what you're doing in your life. Like just say, oh, the pick is on the block. I'll make a pick in X minutes. I'm just not interested in hearing about. Oh, I'm busy doing this. So I don't care. I don't care, and that tends to rub me the wrong way because, like, I know that that's a tactic.
I share my life with people. What can I say? I'm an open book.
I don't tend to like that.
What are your thoughts on the Dallas passing game? Ask Ed. Is there value to be had at ADP? Dak Cooper injuries? Question mark. Not sure what that's in reference to. What happens in 2021? Is Gallup gone?
Yeah, at this point, I think that they're going to part ways with Gallup and move forward.
I don't know why they would. They don't have anybody else behind him.
How are they going to re-sign him?
Yeah, I don't know. But like they always find, like we asked that question about Zeke. We asked that question about Dak. And it just seems like Dallas always finds a way to keep their guys.
How though? I mean, I guess we said how with the Steelers and Juju, but the Steelers are not paying anything to Claypool and Johnson. The problem here is that they're committed $20 million to Amari, and Lamb was a first-round pick who's getting like, I think, what's a first-round pick salary? $5-6 million a year. So like they've committed already, I think, about 5 or 6 times as much to their other two receivers as the Steelers. So there's no room to pay Gallup another $8 million. They just can't do that. And I also don't think Gallup is going to get more than $8 million. So I don't think
I think his value is going to be depressed a little bit. It's just going to be a matter of like whether or not he wants to go be somewhere else on his own. I guess at some point he can just make that decision, right?
Given his interview about it, it sounded like he wants to go somewhere else.
That'd be interesting to see how that plays out. He's really talented. I'd be curious to see where his value would be in the market.
He didn't say, I'd love to be in Dallas forever. He was like, well, we'll see how that goes. I was like, yeah, he's gone. He's gone.
Steve Madden is back from the DLF forum, says, who is Kine Nwangu?
Don't even bother.
He was drafted in the same round as Michael Carter to a team that knows running back. Should we all be trying to stash him?
Do the Vikings know running backs? I mean, they wasted a 3rd-round pick on Alexander Madison. So I don't know how much they know about running backs. Sure. I mean, you can stash him because I don't think Madison's very good.
Yeah. You were one of the first ones on him.
I mean, if being one of the first ones on him consists of reading that he was drafted in the 4th round and being interested, then sure. But I didn't do anything special. Like, it's all it was.
Boot him. Who cares about his failures?
I don't know who we're talking about there.
Too, but great.
Oh, no. I see what he's talking about.
Oh. What do you think about the guy who blames his fantasy failures on lack of time and life obligations and guilts you for caring about winning?
What?
Who does this, Ja?
If you don't want to win, don't play. It's that simple. Fantasy football is competitive. It's a competitive game. If you enjoy losing, find something to do, go take up knitting.
I'm curious to know the bet. There's a story here.
And of course. This is not something that someone just says.
No.
There's a backstory here.
Yeah, I want to hear more about this story, John. Tell me what happened. Like, were you like giving them a hard time about like being a loser? Is that were you just playing clips over and over again of Tyler saying failure to him, like over and over about his team? Like, what's going on?
Someone should make a failure drop.
Yeah, we need that. Yeah, and P2 Thar says no one cares about his failures. I want to go back to a couple of questions here. Yeah, here we go. 16 team Superflex rookie draft at the 108. Top 4 QBs: Harris, Etienne, Chase, all gone. Where do you go?
How is
Devontae Williams, Waddle, or Mac Jones
still there? It's Pitts. Yeah. Pitts should not still be there.
No, again,
I
he's
assume
the one
this
that's
isn't a tight end premium, but still.
Yeah, his value is going to be the most stable of these. And that.
Oh, wait a minute! I just realized something here.
What?
This is 16 team Superflex. That's like death. I'm trying to think how. I got to make the board in my head now.
Is that gonna push? Are you saying it could push Mac Jones up ahead of?
I don't think you realize. Like in a 16 team Superflex, I would have like 16 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds. Like I would take Ryan Tannehill in the first 2 rounds. I would take Matthew Stafford in the first 2 rounds. I would take Zach Wilson, Baker Mayfield even in the first 2 rounds. The 16 team Superflex quarterbacks are like death. I mean, it's very close. It's very close. The first 4 quarterbacks should have been the first 4 picks.
Yep.
In a 16 team Superflex. It's very close then. I still think that I would take Pitts, but it is very, very close.
It's close.
Like,
you make a good point, but yeah. I still think it's got to be Pitts. I just feel better. Like, I don't know. I just don't.
Well, right now, okay, in Superflex,
this is a much better bet to be a thing, right?
Okay,
Mac Jones could just not be a thing.
But in Superflex tight end premium, though, like I have Pitts at 31st overall.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I'm probably going to have 16 to 18 quarterbacks ahead of him, maybe even a few more. But I don't think Mac Jones is going to be in that group. Like I think guys like Jalen Hurts and Tua are like the last quarterbacks that I'm still going to have ahead of him. And Mac Jones is going to be in the next group. So I think I'd still go with Pitts, but it's close.
MN, which I think is Minnesota Wild, 25-25, Superflex tight end premium. I'm in a rebuild, wondering your thought on Cooper Kupp's value and should I get in return?
If you're in a rebuild, Kupp is a must sell.
Because
he just turned 28. He's going to produce. You have to sell him because he's too old to rebuild with, and he has value. I would love to get a first. I would rather add like a third to Kupp and a third for a first than get 2 seconds for Kupp, because I think that's the best you're going to get. I don't think you're going to get a dry first. So if I have to, I'd like to try to like add a third to Kupp to get a first. Adding a second to Kupp to get a first is brutal. But in a rebuild, but if the choice were that or nothing, I'd still do it.
Could you get like
that or nothing?
Could you get something like Jalen Waddle in a second?
Oh, you're not getting Jalen Waddle and.
They got very similar ADPs.
No, you're not getting Jalen Waddle and. If you want to try to swap Kupp for Waddle on the idea of the guy who has Waddle is a contender and you're a rebuilder who has Kupp, I'd just take Waddle.
What about Elijah Moore plus?
You might be able to get that. Like, give me Elijah Moore in a third and I'm good. There's a lot of avenues. That's what I'm saying. You could try what I said, Cup in a third for a first. You could try, Cup for Elijah Moore in a third. You could try Cup for Waddle straight up. Maybe even to get to Devonta Smith, I might even add a third to Cup and a third to get to Devonta Smith. I would do it. I think Devonta Smith has insane upside, much more than Waddle. And
Cooper Kupp going ahead of Laviska Shenault. Why? Why is this?
That's ridiculous. And if I could swap Cup straight across for Laviska Shenault, I would love to do that. So I'm just saying there's a lot of avenues where you can, but he is a must sell. As for Akers, he's not a must sell in a rebuild. He is going to score points, which you don't want, but you got to get value.
If I was going to move Akers, I mean, I would have to get a really big return. If I'm in a rebuild, I'm not sure he's the guy I want to sell.
In Trade Addicts 8, I blew up my team and I made a trade with Akers. Trading Akers away.
Trade him away?
Yeah. You want me to read it to you? You tell me if you like it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I traded away Akers. I'm going to find it. Where is it? Well, it's pretty recently. Okay. So there's a lot of like junk in this trade, but essentially it's Akers for T. Higgins, 2022 first and 2023 first.
Ooh. Interesting.
It's a little bit less than that, but all the other stuff is junk. Like we're talking like David Johnson, like not helpful. Players that actually would hurt you in a rebuild. You don't want them. They have no value and score points you don't want. But just the general idea, it's really, in terms of meaningful assets, it's Akers for Higgins, 2022 first and 2023 first. Do you think that's enough? Superflex tight end premium, same as this.
Yeah, I was trying to see some of the differences in ADP just to get a sense of the value. Higgins is like 50. Akers is going 10. Wow.
That's one QB though.
Yeah.
This super flex. So the firsts are worth more versus a running back. I just think it's enough.
Super flex, that definitely. I'm
just
with you.
The idea of getting, I would like it if it was 2022 firsts, but I just think Higgins, for me, Higgins is worth a first, even in Superflex tight end premium. He's worth a 2022 first, straight up. So I'm looking at that as 2 2022 firsts and a 2023 first. And I just think almost no running back is worth that in a Superflex tight end premium. So I think in a rebuild, I'd rather just have the things that I don't have to worry about Akers. I have my 2 firsts. They cannot get hurt. They'll definitely gain value. And then I have a wide receiver instead. I think it's okay.
Could you get Justin Fields or Trey Lance plus for Akers?
I don't think so. Okay. Nobody's trading those guys. I actually think it's the other way around. I think you'd have to add to Akers to get those quarterbacks.
Steve Madden shoes. You have top 3 to 5 talented players.
Jeff joined our chat, but I don't know what he's saying no to. He's saying no to something.
Jeff, no. Jeff, how are you?
He's saying no to trading Akers or no to. Tell us what does no mean?
Yeah,
could be no to a lot of things, but we'll get a response to that. But let's go back to the previous. Oh, not enough for Akers, he's saying. Okay. Fair enough.
Top 3 to 5 talented players in terrible situations.
Terrible.
I'm not going to go as far as terrible, but like situations that I wish I could change. Like DeAndre Swift has to be up there and J.K. Dobbins has to be up there. Like I wish both, like good situations NFL for Dobbins, but like I just wish he was somewhere and got more carries.
Yeah. Dobbins and Swift are not where we want them to be.
Yeah.
Those are two good ones. Really talented, really stuck in a bad situation.
Michael Gallup, maybe. We talked about him earlier. That might be somebody.
His situation's terrible, though. He still has.
It's just, I guess, on the pecking order of targets, like maybe he doesn't, get as many as we want.
Jerry Judy. is
okay.
Because Jerry Judy is not an alpha. So he's quarterback dependent. He needs an accurate quarterback to succeed. He's not that like next level of player. So he's very stuck. But even just Teddy Bridgewater would be enough to fix him. It just can't be Drew Disaster.
But you're still investing in him, right? I mean, that's like, I think that's one of the things in Dynasty, like we talked about, like investing in talent. You want to do that.
Well, when the situation is not permanent, then yes. Like Drew Lock is not going to be the Denver starting quarterback forever.
Right.
The problem with J.K. Dobbins is his bad situation is permanent. Like Lamar Jackson is not going to stop running the ball. Gus Edwards just was signed to a contract extension. Like his bad situation is permanent. Whereas like DeAndre Swift, his bad situation all of a sudden could look very different next year.
Right.
So you just have to look at how permanent is bad or good. Like Tyreek Hill. His situation is very permanently good because he's going to be playing with Mahomes for as long as Mahomes wants him to be there, for example. But yeah, Dobbins and Swift are good ones. Terrible. I mean,
it just depends on how you define terrible. Like, I think Tampa Bay is a terrible situation for fantasy value. And so, like, you could name 3 to 5 players just on Tampa Bay alone that are in a situation where they're not going to be trusted for fantasy. Because I just don't want anybody on their team anymore. I'm just out on everybody.
I think Mike Evans has upside that would exist if he were elsewhere, but he's never going to hit in with other receivers there.
Right. That's a good question. I like this question a lot.
Yeah. And then another one last one, Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Watson going away took everything from him.
Yeah, gosh.
We always say Brandon Cooks always succeeded. Have we ever seen Brandon Cooks play with a really bad quarterback? You ever seen Brandon Cooks succeed with Tyrod Taylor? You think he's going to succeed with Tyrod Taylor? I don't think so. Brandon Cooks is a great weapon of a good quarterback. Good quarterback knows how to use Brandon Cooks. Tyrod Taylor's not going to make Brandon Cooks good. So that's another one, unfortunately.
Grant G is stuck with us all night. We really appreciate you, Grant G. What running backs are you going after for Devontae Adams? So if you have Devontae Adams, 1 PPR league, are there any running backs that you're pursuing? What does it look like?
I'd like to just get rid of Devontae Adams, please.
Me too.
Devontae Adams has fallen in my dynasty rankings. He comes in at wide receiver 10.
Hello, old friend. Numbers, we haven't seen you tonight. Welcome back. Yo, DLF fam, what are your top 3 Devy QBs right now? By the way, both you guys looking great today. Thank you. Numbers. Appreciate that.
Telling us we look great is always a good way to help. Devy quarterbacks. Okay, so we're not the Devy analysts at DLF. So you want to just read off the top 3 from our Devy rankings? This is going to be better than anything I can give you. DJU is the number 1 at this point for most people, right?
DJU, so ADP wise, it's Spencer Rattler, DJU, and Sam Howell. Followed
DJU.
Bryce Young.
I feel like DJU is the guy we want, though. I feel like I'm gonna want DJU. I know you gotta wait until 2023, but man, I'm excited for DJU.
Clemson has been producing some really talented people. I'm excited
about. That's kind of why. I mean, I always say in the NFL to go against that, to go against a team does something, because the NFL changes quickly, but college is more stagnant, more static. You really do have teams that produce certain things, like Wisconsin running backs or Alabama running backs, Georgia running backs, the same teams, Clemson wide receivers, big Clemson wide receivers. You see the same teams produce the same things over and over and over again. So like in that case, I'm buying into it. Alabama quarterbacks too. So in that case, I'm buying into it with a little bit of DJU.
Yeah, and so Spencer Rattler there in Oklahoma, that's another one. Like Oklahoma's produced some good quarterbacks as well.
I mean, look at their track record. Baker Mayfield, great in 2018 draft. Kyler Murray, 2019. Jalen Hurts, 2020 draft.
The guy you really want in all of this is you want Arch Manning. Sure.
Yes.
He's only a junior in high school, But that's the guy you want.
If I were in one of those leagues where I could draft anybody, I would draft him.
Me too.
I would draft him. I think that I just have a feeling about him. I mean, look, nobody really knows, right? I mean, what is he, 11th grader?
He's like 16 years old.
But I would draft him. I would draft him if I'm in one of those leagues. There are leagues like this where you can draft a baby if you want it. You can draft anyone. I would put him on my team. That's what I would do.
Interesting. I wonder who would have whose baby would we need?
Look, if he's 30% of Peyton Manning, 30%, he'd be an NFL quarterback.
Josh says it's not that serious, guys. Just making excuse for the annual donation. That's in reference to the question that we had earlier. Like, I still want to know the story, Josh. So
yeah, there's got to be a story. I mean, there's got to be.
There's definitely a story there. There's some back and forth.
People. This is not just a hypothetical. There's got to be people he's talking about.
I love what Ed says. Let them have their excuses and you can have their money. Boom.
I want to put this one up.
Good.
Deontay Johnson for a first. And how do you know it's a 20? That's why I wanted to bring it up. How do you know it's a 2023 mid-first? You don't know that it's a 2023 mid-first. That's years from now. Anything could happen between now and then. So you don't know what it's going to be. And it's a 1 QB. In a 1 QB on the value, I think Deontay Johnson is worth more than that. It's too far away for a productive wide receiver. So in a 1 QB, I would take Deontay Johnson.
He's one of those guys that's going to be maybe too productive to really, like you said, too productive to move for. He
just turns 25. This is not enough in a 1 QB. In a super flex, I'm not paying this.
Superflex, I'm probably doing it.
Too risky to take Johnson. In a superflex, you'll just never see me trade away those firsts unless I'm getting a quarterback. Almost ever. I'm so careful.
Yeah.
I'm so careful. You're not going to see me trade those firsts for just... And Deontay Johnson is not a difference maker. Like, he's not going to be the reason you won, more than likely. So you're probably not going to see me trade away a future first in a superflex for someone like Deontay Johnson. The upside is so low and the risk is extreme. If you look at this year's class, right? Like, look at this year's class. The 2021 class was not exactly considered a strong class, right? But just reading down the superflex rookies, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, you'd rather have any of them easy over Deontay Johnson. I mean, Jamar Chase, Najee Harris, Kyle Pitts, Zach Wilson, Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, you'd rather have any of them over Deontay Johnson. That's already 9 players. And that's well over Deontay Johnson. And then with Mac Jones, I think, and, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle is when you start to have a discussion. But I'm just saying, I named 9 players in a so-so class that you would much rather have over Deontay Johnson. So in a super flex, I'm just not doing this.
Want to jump back over to our DLF forum?
We have there's another super chat.
Oh, then we need that.
Yeah.
Yep. Why is Zeke getting slept on so much this year?
Is he though? I feel like that's a dynasty thing. I think most redraft analysts are pretty in on Zeke. To give you an idea, in redraft, I rank Zeke as RB8, which is lower than some. But, I mean, that's still a mid RB1. I have CMC, Henry, Cook, Kamara, Barkley, Taylor, and Chubb ahead.
In 1 QB, he's going as on DLF's ADP, he's going at 20.
And I think that's about right. It's a little high, actually, for me. But my issue really is, like I said earlier, Chubb is going at 11. I just don't get the difference between those two players. To me, they're very similar. And Zeke is the one with the money. Zeke has 2 years guaranteed of the money. Chubb doesn't even have a contract extension. I just don't. I think Zeke's price is about right, and I think Chubb should be similar, maybe a bit higher. But I'm fine. I'm probably not taking Zeke at 20, but it's not far off. But Chubb at 11, I just think is insane. I just don't. There's something I'm not getting. So is Zeke being slept on? maybe, but I don't. The ADP doesn't say he's being slept on.
Let me ask you this though, like he's going at 20 right now, and like in most of the drafts he went like 22. He went 22 or above. He had a couple where he went 10, and that changed his value there. But so let's say in that 22, 24 range, into the second round in a Dynasty startup 12 team, one QB. What would his year have to be like this year for next year for him to be going higher?
That he can't.
He can't.
But so Chubb is the exact same.
It's a hard thing for me to invest in him right now just because I know his value is going down. There's almost nothing he can do to stop it.
I think here's my issue. Dalvin Cook is 4 and Zeke is 20.
Right.
That doesn't work for me. I just don't like. I'd rather take Zeke at 20 than Cook at 4.
Yeah.
Cook at 4 is just mind-boggling to me.
If you're willing to just take on the rest of his career and not necessarily think about the value side, then fine. Like I think Zeke is like a very productive running back. I think he's going to be productive in this offense. I mean, like you can't ask for a better situation, right? I mean, as long as Dak stays healthy, this is a really good situation we're going to be in.
You have basically all of these 1995 running backs. You have Kamara, you have Cook, you have Zeke, and you have Chubb. Those 4, all 1995. And I don't think that they should be valued that differently. They all have their concerns. I have Kamara and Cook higher for 2 separate reasons. Cook has more upside than the others, and Kamara, I think, has the most longevity based on his skill set. You've seen like Darren Sproles, Danny Woodhead, receiving backs last longer. Like I think only Kamara is still going to be fantasy relevant at 30, whereas I think the others will be out of the league. So That's why I have Kamara the highest of the 4. But and Cook, I have slightly higher. But again, I have Cook at 10, not 4. That's the only thing for me is I think that Zeke is actually the only one valued appropriately. The others are all way too high. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
Chubb at 11 is the one that I just find ridiculous. He's splitting time. You're going to spend your first pick in a Dynasty startup on a running back who's already 25, doesn't have a future contract, and is splitting time with a very talented running back who takes all of his pass catching work. That is insane. That is just bad. That's not good. That's a bad strategy. You can do it if you want, but it's a bad strategy. I
like Chubb more than I like Zeke. That's probably why.
I guess, but
I agree that the value should be closer, but I'm just really high on him, especially for this year. So it would just.
Where do you rank him this year, though? Where do you rank Chubb this year? How high could he really be? How high could he be in our 2021 rankings? You have him ahead of Henry?
Yes, for sure.
That's ridiculous. Why? Why do you have him ahead of Henry? He's going to get more carries? No. Is he going to split more time? Is he going to split more time, get more time in the field? No. Does he have more touchdown upside? I don't think so. They brought in Hunt at the goal line multiple times. They brought in Hunt at the goal line multiple times when they shouldn't have. Multiple times they did it. I'm
telling you, their offensive line.
Titans going to bring Darrington Evans in. Titans going to bring Darrington Evans in at the goal line. I don't think so. So I'm just saying, I just don't understand. I just don't get it. There's something that I must not be getting about Chubb. Is he like, people think he's like the best running back in the league. Is he?
He's really talented. I love him.
Right, but you don't think that Derrick Henry and Ezekiel Elliott are also talented?
No, of course. It's just I think one.
I think Derrick Henry's a better runner.
Zeke's coming off of a bad year. I mean, he is. It's just true. I know there are circumstances. He had Andy Dalton, but he is coming off of a bad year.
He was better than a lot of people think.
Sure, but
he was the RB9. Sure? How bad is that? I have him ranked as the RB8 for 2021.
Sure that the reason why is Dak? Probably, but are we sure?
But he was the RB9. He was the RB9. How low do you want me to rank him? right? I mean, he has his money coming. Like, there's no way around it. He's going to get utilized.
This Caleb Williams from OU is going to be a monster in 2024. Maybe
I don't know. That's too far away for me to think about.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about 2024.
Grant has one last one for us. In a super flex league, gave a 2022 first plus Irv Smith for Jalen Hurts. Need another QB to pair with Lamar Jackson. Fair?
Yeah, if I need a quarterback, I'd do it. Jalen Hurts probably wouldn't be who I would target, but if you need a quarterback, Hurts is worth that.
Okay, we're gonna go back.
I'm pretty low on him, though, to be honest.
Steve Madden Shoes, DLF forum, killing it out there on the forums. Steve Madden Shoes, and looking good while you're doing it. Appreciate that. Which tight ends after the top 8 have the talent, not situation, to eventually rise in the top 6?
So I assume your top 8 is the same as mine, is the same as rankings, is the same as ADP. You know, Kelsey, Kittle, Pitts, Waller, Hawkinson, Andrews, Fant, Goddard is the typical top 8. So I assume you want someone not on that list who I think would rank in the top 6. And I think it's really, like, I'm just looking. 9 for me is Irv Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Is Irv Smith ever going to be top 6? Maybe. I think he's someone who could do it. Possibly. Next, we come to Mike Gesicki. That's a no. I've seen enough failure. 3 years of blah. 3 years of blah, drafting Hunter Long. Tua, I don't want any of that. So, and top 6, no. Mike Gesicki is what he is.
He's another one. His player profiler page is awesome.
I don't care. That was 3 years ago. I've seen 3 years of blah. So Mike Gesicki is a no for me. Next, we come to Evan Ingram. I think I've seen enough of Evan Ingram. That's a no. Cole Kmet, top 6. I don't think Cole Kmet's that guy as a receiver.
Who's moving out? I guess who's moving out of those top 6? Is it Andrews? Is that kind of the one that?
All the top 6 are young enough to stay for a couple of years, except Kelsey. And even Kelsey, like, Kelsey could be valued as a top 6 tight end for the rest of his career until he retires, given his production.
Yes.
Like, true. He might fall out of the top 3, but he's probably not gonna fall out of the top 6. So, like, who's really coming in? Like, Cole Kmet, no. Logan Thomas, he already just turned 30, so turning 30 in a bit, so no. And then after that,
Kmet. That's it. They're the only ones that have a chance. Nobody else has a chance.
Kmet barely does. It's really just
Kmet barely.
Like, after that, you're getting to, like, you know, we have like Robert Tonyan, no. Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, top 6. I just don't see it with both of them there. Top 6 seems optimistic. And then, like, here's a couple of guys who could do it just because they're complete black boxes, like Pat Freiermuth and Adam Troutman. Because we have no idea what they are. No clue. They could be anything. So there's a couple of guys who could do it. Pat Freiermuth, I think, has a talent. And then we get to a bunch of old people like Austin Hooper, Tyler Higbee, Zach Ertz, Blake Jarwin, Gerald Everett. It's a bunch of OJ Howard. No. So, you know, the next most likely that I see is actually Jacob Harris.
Tim Tebow.
No. So yeah, tight end is pretty brutal after that top 8. It's really 8, and then I kind of like Irv Smith as a flyer, and then I'm just a big no on everyone else.
Whose situation improved more between Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert? How does that change how you value them as assets?
How did Herbert's situation improve?
I would say it improved because he got a really good offensive coordinator who I love in Joe Lombardi. I love that matchup because I think he's the perfect quarterback, perfect guy for that job.
It's an interesting point. Did that offense coordinator happen to score 20 touchdowns in a season in college?
I don't know. Probably not.
I don't think so. Did that same offense coordinator happen to put up 1,780 yards on 84 receptions in college?
But did that Biletnikoff winner come from a lineage of Hall of Fame coaches?
Gets better. Did that same receiver happen to play with the exact same quarterback he's going to play with now?
No,
I don't think so. I don't think that any of that applies to Herbert. So what kind of question is this? Of course, Burrow's situation improved more. He got a receiver that he put up historic college numbers with.
Do you rank Burrow over Herbert?
No, but that's not the question. The question
No,
is
right. I'm just saying. Okay. All right. Just making sure.
To give you an idea, before the offseason, Burrow and Herbert were much farther apart than they are now.
Yeah.
Burrow has closed the gap significantly, both because of Chase and because of his injury recovery looking good.
Man, if he's healthy and anything like himself to start the season, he's going to have the most pass attempts in the NFL next year.
The most? Well, the defense is so bad. The defense is so bad. You think he's going to have the most?
Yeah, he did when he got hurt last year.
He was on pace for the most?
Rookie. Yeah, no, he did. He had the most pass attempts.
At that stage?
At the moment he got hurt, he had more pass attempts than anybody else in the NFL.
Okay. Did they have their bye week yet? I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly what it was.
No, but it's Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor that's what he wants. Like, he's been very vocal. Like, he wants to run the most amount of plays. He wants to
Mixon was hurt, though. That was Mixon was hurt for a lot of that. So it might have been a little bit more passing, but I do think that he's going to be top 5 in passing attempts. Burrow, that is.
I think
top
Chase
5
helps in the red zone too, and he could be really good this year.
Yes,
I'm excited.
Yes, he could be really good this year. I mean,
breaking news.
It's like the least hot thing you've ever said.
Fantasy 1-5. Who is a player who has a chance to be fantasy relevant that is massively under rostered right now?
Do. Like, how deep we going?
Let's go deep.
All right, you want to go really deep?
Who can be fantasy relevant that's massively under rostered right now?
Oh, you want really deep, huh?
Honestly, Taysom Hill is the answer to this question.
He's not under rostered. He's owned in every single Dynasty league. We're talking. He wants someone who's not on rosters.
All right, we want somebody not on rosters. Well, then how deep can you go?
I mean, I think Marquez Callaway was a good name. He's not on many rosters. I mean, Jacob Harris, if people are still missed out on him. Although it would still be tough for him to jump in and do it this year. I mean, as much as I don't really like it, there's always a possibility that Tim Patrick could continue to be relevant in Denver. As much as I hate to say that. Yeah.
He could. Keegan in the chat, he says, should you give Tyler Boyd and a 2022 third for Pollard and a 2023 second? 10 team. Half PPR.
Half PPR makes me want Boyd a lot less because the only appealing thing about Boyd is catches and volume. He hadn't put up a lot of yards. He hasn't put up a lot of touchdowns. Nope. So in that, but also it takes away some of the appeal of Pollard.
For Pollard, yeah.
But you're not really wanting Pollard for what he would do in his current role. You want Pollard for what he would do if Zeke got hurt.
It's true.
So yeah, I would take. It's probably about fair. Probably take the Pollard side.
Give me Boyd. I still want Boyd.
I don't really want either side.
Tommy Gunn. This was probably our last question, and then we're gonna call it a night. 14 team Superflex tight end premium dynasty. Trade away Jameis Winston, Laviska Shenault, and Gerald Everett. 4. Darren Waller. Great. Which side do you like better?
Well, you picked one where I can guarantee you we're not going to agree. Because I want
Darren Waller right here.
Yeah, I want the other side.
But tight end premium, you would value Waller way over Shenault, wouldn't you?
But what if I want Winston?
Why?
14 team Superflex.
Even if Winston is the starter, okay, and he's not going to be.
14
even if he is,
Superflex makes it easy for me. If it were
if he is
Superflex, I'd take the other side. But 14
Taysom Hill's still not going away, and I don't think Winston's going to have near as much value as you think.
It's pointless argument. It's a pointless argument. With the 14 team Superflex, I'm not doing it. I'll take my chances on Winston. I can't give up a potential starting quarterback, for an aging tight end. It's just not my style. I also love Laviska Shenault. I'm just not doing it.
Waller's where the value is.
I'm just not doing it. I don't think so. I mean, if it's what I believe, that Winston is the easy starter and Taysom Hill is irrelevant, then you're wrong. The value's on the other side.
In a 14 team, be irrelevant. Even if he is the week one starter, he's going to take away a lot of touchdowns. I see it,
where Jameis Winston is the starter in a 14-team superflex, the value's on that side. So it makes sense in a 14-team superflex, the value's on that side. So since that's the way I see it, it makes sense that I want that side. But if you see it your way, where Taysom Hill is the starter, then this isn't a question. It's obviously the other side. So that's the only difference. Like in a 14-team superflex, it's going to be the side with the starting quarterback almost always. So it's really just a question of if you think you're getting one or not. I think you are.
Herbert, Rodgers, and Tannehill, that gives you a pretty good buffer. I mean, I don't know that you need to add Jameis Winston.
I mean, Rodgers is a maybe.
He re-upped his golf membership, Tyler.
I would have done something. I would have tried to do better, though. I mean, I would have tried to exploit Winston's potential value better than this. Then, if you really wanted to trade him away, I think you could have gotten more.
Yeah,
I think you could have done better than this. In a 14-team superflex, Winston is worth a lot. I just don't think people really understand. Like, the difference between going from 24 quarterbacks in a week to 28 is everything. The quarterback scarcity, it's not, you would think, oh, it's only like 16, 17% more. No, the scarcity is like twice as strong in a 14-team superflex. Quarterbacks are worth about 50% more to me. So trading away a quarterback is something you got to pay me big time if I'm going to trade a quarterback away.
Anyway, I could see that. One last hot take, Pete Duthar. Gabe Davis.
I mean,
top 25.
That's not possible unless Cole Beasley actually retires.
Yeah.
Like if Cole Beasley's on the team and Stephon Diggs remains healthy the whole season, there's just no way that Gabe Davis can also be a top 25 wide receiver. That just isn't. I don't think that's possible. I think what you're hoping for with Gabe Davis is that he finishes as like a low end wide receiver 3 to high end wide receiver 4 this year. And then people see it and you're going for that. They really make him the 2 going forward. No more Emmanuel Sanders, no more other stuff. They keep him. We answered this already.
Yep. The Carps Gambit coming up on Netflix.
Oh my God. No, it's not coming up. It's not coming up.
It's the story of a man who was a chess national champion and became a fantasy analyst.
I'll tell that story sometime.
I really appreciate that. We are done here. We had a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody who came in the chat. So many of you guys stuck in. We really appreciate that. So many great questions. Chat room was on fire again. I get it. It's end of June. But hey, that is, Boy Wonder. The Carps Gambit, I'm telling you, coming to Netflix. We appreciate everybody. Tyler, just tell everybody, what do you have coming up? What's something we can look forward to seeing out of you in the next week?
I mean, there's that article about the quarterback landscape in Superflex ADP that I wrote. There's also an article looking back at the thought process behind Kenyon Drake in 2020 and that whole kind of disaster. And I'm writing now about the danger of holding Mike Evans on your roster going forward and how, even though the haters come at me for my Mike Evans takes a lot and they make it very personal, I'm going to write it anyway, mostly because of that. Lean into it. It's that Aaron Rodgers thing. If people come and hate at you, you shouldn't let that stop you. If anything, it should just encourage you to be more and more of yourself and just create the content that you want to create.
Tyler is always thinking 2 moves ahead. And if you want to think 2 moves ahead, check out his articles on dynastyleaguefootball.com. A great website for your Dynasty football. Dynasty football needs literally everything you want is right there On this YouTube channel, we got a lot of things right here too. A lot of exciting things. I can't even tell you about all the ones that I was talking about Addison, but they're coming. Make sure you're subscribed. Click the notifications button. And I was gonna tease one of the new things we might do, but I'm not even gonna do that. The notifications button so that you know every time that we're live or every time Addison drops a new video. And look, go like this video, but go find one of Addison's. Make sure you're liking those too. He does a great job. Make sure you're supporting him.
It'll make Addison happy. And we care about Addison's happiness.
Go tell Addison that you love what he's doing on one of his videos. He will definitely appreciate that.
He'd especially love it if you just tagged him on Twitter and posted an entire post about how you loved his content.
Bingo.
I suggest that everyone do that.
Somebody do that. For Tyler, for Addison, for DLF, I'm Calvin and Hobby, and we will see you next week. Get those questions, get those